There we go. Well, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, and good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Got a great broadcast lineup for you this morning, as I hope that I pray that we always do. I'm not important. I'm just a question asker. I'm just a question asker. My name is Raheem. But who is important? This is my brother from another mother, but we got the same father. This is Captain Leonard. Good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Good morning, Raheem and the Morning Glow family.
How's everything going with you, brother?
Everything is going just fine.
Good deal. Good. Going good on this end as well, man. But what is going on in our political arena? Is there any trans things that we need to know about in the actions, transactions, or people taking money, giving money, borrowing money, loaning money? What's going on, man?
Well, it's always something going on. However, we need to focus on what we need to do as opposed to what somebody else is doing.
Mm-hmm.
So, what we have to do is make sure that we are definitely looking at these local races and things like that in our local areas and
Mm-hmm.
making sure we getting out to vote.
Yes.
Remember, the opposition is trying to disenfranchise you. All the foolishness going on in the media and the news or what have you should not be in much of an issue to the common voter because it is how the game is played. However, if you vote and vote your interest, that is what is most important. What are
Mm-hmm.
you interested in? That's when I hear people talking about we're not voting, we're not doing this, or why should I vote? What are your interests?
Mm-hmm.
What
Mm-hmm.
are your interests?
and
Why
I,
are
I
you no?
no, go ahead, brother. Go
You
ahead.
know why are you having such a hard time determining who to vote for?
Mm-hmm.
Some people are just simply irrational.
I want to ask you something about this whole political thing.
Hmm.
Excuse me. I want to ask you something about this whole political thing, man. Why is it a lot of times, and some people say they do it, but majority of the people do not. When they running for office, it becomes, instead of running for office, dealing with the issues, dealing with what's on the table, what you're going to do, what you're not going to do, what you can and what you cannot do. Instead of dealing with those points and those facts, it becomes a smear campaign where they just want to make the other person look terrible. This person ain't doing it, ain't did it. All that okay, all that's okay. But what are you going to do? Why can't a person just, a lot of time, why can't they just stick to the facts? This is what my campaign is. This is what we're going to focus on. This is what we're going to do for you. Why does it have to become a smear campaign?
Well, I think, well, first of all, we have to look at the strategies of the people involved.
Mm-hmm.
There are people who don't care about the facts and they just want to incite you to do something. They just
Mm-hmm.
want to incite you to vote based on all these fears you have of other people. So
Mm-hmm.
if they get you scared enough and they believe that they're your heroes, and so they're going to fight against this fear that you have, which is completely cowardice and ridiculous. And this is what is driving these people to look and act the way they are acting.
Mm-hmm.
They freaking insane. You have one side saying they're no longer going to participate in political debates, the
Yeah.
Republican Party.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because they have nothing worthwhile to say.
Mm-hmm.
They have no programs and things like that they're supporting. They never talk about supporting anything.
Mm-hmm.
They never talk about any concrete issues that affect American lives each and every day. They're just full of a bunch of rhetoric and talking points that really appeal to the low educated
Mm.
or those people who are simply wicked enough to vote for a wicked agenda. And that's what these people are doing. It's becoming more sexist, more fascist, and more racist.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're voting for that particular side of the coin, I can tell you right now, we're not going to get along.
Mm-hmm.
You're not for the majority of the American people. You could care less about the poor, the homeless, the sick. You could care less about anyone with a disability, the elderly, or children's education for that matter.
Mm-hmm.
You're stuck on stupid about something somebody else is telling you that ain't worth 5 cents worth of dead dog meat.
He put it in there. He threw it in there. Tucson. He using your line this morning, Tucson. He pulling lines out your bucket. He pulling lines out your bucket, Tucson.
And it's because it's just ridiculous
Yeah.
the level of ignorance
Mm-hmm.
and irrational approaches to public administration.
Mm-hmm.
That's what government is about. Public administration. So if you have a group aside that could care less about the goods and services and products and things like that and how they're administered to the American people, you shouldn't be in government.
Mm-hmm.
If your whole point is to exclude and disenfranchise and to make it harder for people to live life abundantly, you're against everything that I stand for
Mm-hmm.
and every good thing for that matter. When was the last time you heard that side of the coin say anything about helping anybody?
Mm. Well, you got individuals, man, that'll stand up and say they do this and they do this and they do this and they do that. But I like to look at facts. I like to look at facts. What do the facts show me? Do the facts show me that they're doing them? And not all and people say, well, not all party is absolutely good, but
And
not
that's
all party.
right, but even then, you're irrational for even having that particular belief to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
This never was the issue. This never was the point of the matter. Who are
Mm-hmm.
you voting for? If they
Mm-hmm.
weren't part of a party and you voted for them, you should have a reason to vote for them. I could care less if great people were on the Republican side of the coin doing great things and wanting to help people, then I would be voting Republican.
Mm-hmm.
But they simply are not. Show me a Republican that is doing so, and I would have no problem supporting them.
Mm-hmm.
You just can't.
They don't exist, is what you're saying.
I don't know. I mean, I haven't. I mean, I remember the last decent Republican that I heard that I believed was about what they say they were about. I believe was Kasich
Mm-hmm. Okay.
when he ran for president.
Mm-hmm.
He had a
Mm-hmm.
very rational approach to problem solving. He was interested in solving some of our problems, the nation's problems,
Mm-hmm.
and doing it in a manner that seemed fair. And you know how long ago that was.
Mm-hmm.
There are some I see like those individuals who crossed the aisle and voted for the confirmation of Jackson.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They're a lot more moderate and
Mm-hmm.
trying to, at least say, hey, we might be Republicans, but we ain't all ignorant.
Yeah.
We ain't
Yeah.
all stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us do appeal to trying to make this democracy what it is supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I ain't gotta like you. I ain't gotta love you or approve of everything or what you eat for breakfast in the morning. I just want you to govern.
How did you feel about and God rest the dead, but how did you feel about McCain?
I thought McCain was decent. He had his issues just like everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that he was more moderate than the
Mm-hmm.
majority of individuals. Even McCain would not let you just blatantly lie and be
Yeah.
foolish and make him look stupid that
Mm-hmm.
way.
Mm-hmm.
He wouldn't just go along with it if it was blatantly wrong
Yeah. Yeah.
or a blatant lie.
One of the examples is how he even in campaigning, and this what I'm talking about right here, man. It don't have to be a smear campaign.
No,
That lady got up, man, and she was saying, "Well, Obama is this and Obama is that," and Obama. No, he said no. He took the mic. No, 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 no. No, he's not.
right.
No, he's
It's
not.
simply a
No, he's not.
lie. And
Yeah.
you
No, he's
have to
not.
have people that are at least truthful.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Mm-hmm.
even if you don't like what they're saying, is it the truth?
Yeah. Yeah.
These people blatantly lie and hope you so stupid that you don't check,
Mm-hmm.
that you just go along. They have a whole news platform that lies regularly.
Mm-hmm.
about everything.
Does it start with an F?
Yeah, and people sit up there and watch it as if they're consuming something healthy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's amazing to me that people are still that ignorant.
What's amazing to me is that a lot of times I would like to think that they are intelligent enough to know that it's not the truth, but yet and still they'll still believe it.
Well, to know the truth and to accept it is two different things.
Mm-hmm.
There are certain people that know the truth, but it hasn't changed how they are. It's just made them worse because
Mm.
they are against the truth.
Mm-hmm.
They don't care for it. They deal in lies and deception. And nothing is more, I think, reprehensible than that.
Mm-hmm.
They're willfully lying to you.
Yeah.
At least a decent person will say, I don't have an answer for you.
Mm-hmm.
Or let me find out more about that.
Yeah.
Show me that you're at least concerned in the actual truth of the matter, where we see that one side completely is not. One
Mm-hmm.
side is even about voter suppression.
Wow.
How can any African American vote for somebody that supports voter suppression?
Mm-hmm.
I don't care how you dress it up and make it look. A spade is a spade.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no sense in you trying to change the name of it, fix it up, make it sound pretty, or being so deceptive that someone is misled.
Mm-hmm.
You got people will say, well, both sides is bad. And yeah, you bad and good too. Now, which side are you supporting?
Mm-hmm. The bad
Which
or the
side
good.
are you supporting? Which
Yeah.
side are you feeding in yourself?
Mm-hmm.
If you're feeding negativity and lies within yourself, guess what you'll probably support?
Mm-hmm.
Mo fools.
Yep.
Mo fools. That's what you'll do. That's how we know you're foolish
Mm-hmm.
because you gave
Mm-hmm.
yourself away. You weren't smart enough to keep your mouth closed. You continuously said stupid things.
You showed your hand.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Now, all y'all call in that's supporting 508-924-3521 if you're supporting the stupid side of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Because you just look stupid.
Phone lines are open. The phone up. There go a call right there too. There go a call. Toussaint. Good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Mm, Going all right.
I know why you called in, man. You heard Leonard use one of your lines this morning, didn't you? You heard
I
it?
did.
Yeah. And
What
so
did he say? I missed the part that he used the line. I know when he said more fools.
no,
That's what kicked me
that's what
in. You gave yourself away. That's
You
what
mm,
he
gave
did.
yourself away.
gay. He said 5 cent worth of dead dog, and he said it was some enthusiasm. He said it was some passion. He said 5 cent worth of dead dog meat.
If you
Use one of
run,
your lines.
man, if you run a Herschel Walker, you ain't worth my time.
Mm, mm. We
Running through the airport. You know you can't run through the airport. OJ,
we talking this morning, Tucson, about voting and a person, how they vote, how they represent, and why does a lot of the campaigns, mainly what we're talking about, how does a lot of the campaigns end up being instead of dealing with the facts, what you going to do, what can you do, what are your limitations, how can you help the people, instead of talking about those facts. They want to get into a smear campaign and talk bad about the person that's running against him. Oh, he ain't this. Do you know he did this? Do you know he didn't do this? Instead of doing all those things, stick with the facts. Let me know what the facts are. What can you do? I ain't worried about. I go talk to the other. If I want to know what the other person's doing, I go talk to the other person. You tell me what you gonna do. Why can't it be that way, Toussaint?
Usually when somebody's talking about somebody else, they're trying to keep somebody off of them.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's all that is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we all try to hide our skeletons in the closet because it might expose us.
Mm-hmm.
So what we do, try to expose somebody else.
Mm.
All
But
you got to do,
and
all
that's
you got to do is
true.
pay attention.
Yeah, and that's true. But still, the facts are not being addressed. The issues are not being addressed.
Nobody, because maybe I'm wrong, But you know, politicians can't do what they promise. No way.
Mm, mm,
Because they don't run nothing.
mm-hmm.
The system is set. You're just in office.
See,
And if you try, you ain't gonna be there long.
mhm. And see,
And if you
I got
do go ahead.
I gotta go here with you too, son. I gotta go here with you this morning, man. Um, and I want you. I know you can deal with what I'm about to say to you. If that be the case, and I'm not saying that it's not. The people in the office are just figureheads, and so if you have just figureheads that's going to go there and do and line up with the system, what is the purpose of voting? I vote. I'm going to vote. I'm not going to
I'm
stop
voting.
voting. I'm not going to stop voting. But for the people that feel that way, why should they vote if everybody in there is just a figurehead?
Well, um, you get the best puppet.
Mm,
And, there are some with good intentions, and some of them have a desire to do the right thing.
mm-hmm.
Okay, and if we can get those in the door, that's the beginning of change, or the hope that we need, or the solution. Some of the answers to what we seek.
Mm-hmm.
But if you just say, "Oh, it is just what it is," then there's no chance.
Mm-hmm.
We have to take some chances in life, and somebody has to make a stand. Now they're gonna run into everybody runs into obstacles,
Mm-hmm.
but if you don't even try, what chance do you have?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, remember you remember. I don't know if you can remember, but you remember when there was no opportunity to vote at all.
Yes. Yes.
Remember,
Mm-hmm.
if we
Mm-hmm.
would have just laid down, not we, but they would have just laid down and said, "Oh, we just can't vote," where would the hope be?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm with you.
Who would be the fighter?
Mm-hmm.
Now, they still had you counting jelly beans or
Mm.
guessing jelly beans.
Guessing. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, stupid.
Mm-hmm.
But you sit there and guess. You might get it right. I'm just
Mm.
saying. There was a need to. How can you have any change if you just lay down?
Yeah. Yeah.
So people with no vote, they just laying down.
Mm-hmm.
They
Wow.
just go along, get along, go along to get along,
Like Harry
and
Hippie,
say,
like Harry Hippie, just
oh
ride the
yeah,
wind, huh?
that's my friend. That's my friend.
Oh, Harry Hippie. Leonard,
Yeah, that's the Harry Hippie mentality.
exactly, exactly. Leonard, what do you say to that, man? Because some people will say, if that be the case, if they're just figureheads, if that be the case, and it's just a system that's running everything, why is it important for a person to vote?
Well, first of all, that's not true.
Mm-hmm.
It's a narrative that people have created to abandon their civic responsibilities as
Mm-hmm.
Americans.
Okay. Now, what part are you saying is not true? Clarify that for me.
This whole issue about just a figurehead or this, that, and the other, if that was the case, people wouldn't run.
Mm-hmm.
People wouldn't want to be interested unless they had an ulterior motive and they were just horrible individuals. And this place would have getting a lot more closer to hell than it is now.
Mm.
The attack is on democracy, not your personal opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you don't care for democracy, you're the type of person that probably needs to be somewhere else. But if you shirk your responsibilities, then we all begin to suffer. This place is becoming a lot more authoritarian. There are a lot of people trying to change laws about your freedoms and things of that nature. And if you don't stand up and do something about it, it will happen. And all this foolishness about the figurehead and this. Have you ever talked to him? Probably not. Have you ever got engaged in a political campaign and supported a person that you wanted in office? Probably not. Have you even sat in a meeting with someone and talked about their agenda and what they would like to accomplish? Probably or not. You sitting on the couch quarterback and Monday quarterback is what you're doing.
Mhm.
And
Mm.
you're saying things that really are just your opinion, and they're just another tactic to disenfranchise individuals. If I can get you to believe it don't matter, then hey, I could take over the world if I can get you to believe it don't matter. Why you sitting there doing whatever it is you doing that you think so important?
Ain't that what a lot of folks say? A lot of, I'm not gonna categorize. A lot of folks say that the best trick that the devil had to make you think that he didn't exist.
And I mean, it even if you don't believe it exists,
Mm-hmm.
the people who ain't never got no answers to nothing sitting around them, I don't know, I don't know. How did he get like this? How did this and this? Come on, man, really,
Mm-hmm.
really? That you've been living here how long? How long you been on this planet and you still don't know what's going on? Or you
Mm-hmm.
just making up lies? I've worked with is the district attorney that was elected in Gwinnett County. Is she just a figurehead?
Mm-hmm. So, Patsy.
Yes. Is she just a
Mm-hmm.
figurehead? How about all the people that have come on this station and talked about government and their experiences and working and what needs to be changed? They're just figureheads. They're doing nothing. You
Mm.
see people doing things,
Yeah.
but you still say they're not. You a fool.
Mm.
To ignore evidence is foolish. Just because
Mm.
you got an opinion about something. How do you live every day? How do you make it every day?
Mm-hmm. And let me say this to the people that's listening, because they may have taken a left turn and missed something. We're not talking about each other. We're not pointing the finger at each other in no kind of way at all. It's not what we're doing. We're talking about that ideology or that idea of a person saying something like that. We're not pointing the finger at each other at all. Tucson, what's on your heart?
I am not a fool.
Lord, Lord, Lord. Is my living in vain?
Talk it out, brother. Talk it out. Talk it
Oh,
out.
I think I hit that note pretty good, that man. Yeah, I got one
You
good
you
line in.
you 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 hit that out 1 out of 10 ain't bad.
Yes,
For
sir.
some of the stuff I've seen on TikTok and stuff, that was pretty good. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Good to see what I'm saying. I'm telling you, man. Every night, if I just stick to one line, if I could sing a song and just hit one line, boy, look,
No, no.
Grammys ain't got nothing
You
on me.
listen. You got a platinum album
Yes,
coming.
sir. Yes, sir.
But
Yes.
for just for sake of conversation, and then it's more than conversation and more than opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, to me, um, I'm gonna stick to my guns because even if there are people that make changes that make it happen, they're slim to none.
Mm.
That's more of my point. Not everybody, but for the most part, when they get I'm gonna use somebody for example. You tell me. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. You tell me. Um, if if for the most part they're limited in what they will do.
Mm-hmm.
We had 8 years of, I believe, a thought to make some changes. Every single thing they tried to do, even the thing that his wife tried to do, as soon as they could, they dismissed every bit of it.
Mm-hmm.
They fought it for 8 years. I've seen it. And then you get a clown that uh, don't even know when he read out of 1 Corinthians that he got his Bible upside down, that he agreed, uh, they agreed with him that Mexico gonna build a wall. No, pay for the wall. We gonna build it. They gonna pay for
Mm-hmm.
it. And they amen it all the way to the wire. And that was stupid from the beginning. And they still um trying, and I don't know what happened to. Let me ask a question. What happened to the wall?
Mm. Wow.
Let me ask another question. Why don't we build a wall with the people that are within the country, not with the one that's out of the country? They're not the problem. It's these busters that's in the country that's causing all the issues. They're the rapists and the murderers. They've been murdering for years.
Mm.
But you know what they do? Run for president.
Wow. 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 Good morning, Charles. How you doing this morning? Can't hear you, man. You muted.
What's up, man?
What's going on with you? Charles, we're talking about voting, and we're talking about people that's actually running for office. And there's ideas out there. There's ideas out there that a lot of people are just figureheads. A lot of people that get into office, they're pretty much just figureheads. And if that be the case, there's also an argument that say if they're just figureheads, why we even taking our time to vote? Now I'm gonna vote. I'm going to continue to vote, and I never stop voting. I would never stop voting. But some people say, why should we vote if everybody in office is just figureheads? What do you say to that?
I mean, watch on the people who think that that's legitimate for them to think. But like you, I'm always gonna vote. I don't think everybody's a figurehead. I think some things are, but I'm still gonna make my vote because we never know what the end result's gonna be. And I don't have, and if I don't vote, then I don't have a gripe. You know what I'm saying? You know, if you don't vote, then you really to me don't have a gripe. Shut the you know, if you ain't
Mm-hmm.
voting. So
Mm-hmm.
if you think that way, you think it's going to be that way, then that's just how you think. That's you. But then don't gripe about nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And if you think that voting is not working, then what are you doing to help other than voting?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to vote just like you. Bro.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, people say what they want to say, but I got a voice, and a lot of people have lost their lives, given their lives, or had their lives taken for me to have the right to go up there and cast my vote. And I'm gonna utilize that, and I'm not gonna
And even
disrespect
and
by
even
not.
Yeah, and
Raheem,
it can actually mostly vote on your community areas, man. That it doesn't have to be just presidential vote
Yeah.
in your community first, and
Mm-hmm.
that's where you see things change at. And if you can't sit down next to the person in your community that you're voting for and understand them, and understand that they're not just a figurehead, or if they are, then what you got the problem.
Mm-hmm. Leonard.
It doesn't always have to be grand. It could
Yeah.
be right there at the house.
Exactly.
and
Exactly.
even right here in the state of Georgia, there is a trial going on simply because they're trying to change the rules. They're trying to change who count the votes, who can stop the count of the votes. They want to put in place where they can eradicate the vote and just pick somebody to choose who you support for this state. It should not be done that way. That is an attack on democracy.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody that is supporting making it harder for Americans to vote
What
is
makes it
the
harder though?
opposition.
Now getting off the subject though.
Mm-hmm.
Closing polling places, changing rules at the last minute, actually not counting votes that have been cast. Those types of things violate all the rules of open elections. And that's why there's a federal trial right now over the election rules in Georgia. One of the main types of legislation being promoted by the GOP is to appoint certain individuals in certain states who give them the power to overturn the vote
Mm-hmm.
of the electors. That is an attack on democracy. If I don't like the way the election turned out and I got enough pull, I should be able to just call the Secretary of State or the governor, and they should be able to just to ignore the results of elections and choose who they would want.
Wow. 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 Toussaint.
Yeah, I want to make it clear. Uh, I ain't gonna sit at home and just not vote.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna do it every. I'm gonna be out there every time. Um, but for them, and I'm gonna stick to my guns. For the most part, you know, I mean, people have a tendency to believe what they want, think what they want, do what they want. But I look at people with good intentions, and they do everything they possibly can, just like we was talking about, to slander them. What you doing that for? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, instead of talking about, like you said, the issues, when we go to vote, nobody talk. They talk about what they're gonna do or what changes they can make. They spend most of their campaign,
Slandering.
uh,
Slandering.
yeah,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and so so we vote for the one with the biggest mouth,
Mm.
and that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me what you at least trying to do.
Yeah. And see, and that's my
But
point. And that's why I brought that to the conversation. I say instead of slandering each other, instead of talking about what the other person is not doing or how bad they are, how ugly
mhm,
or terrible of a person, tell me why you have me in front of you. Tell me what you're going to do, and that's on both sides. That's a Democratic,
yeah,
Republican. I don't care about hearing what the other person is not doing. I want you to tell me what you're going to do. What are you going to do to make this
when
situation better? What are you going to do to fight
when did
some? Go ahead, brother.
no, when did you last hear a clean campaign?
It's been
When was the last time?
man, I can't remember, brother. I can't remember because even in the ads that they run is to put this person didn't do this person didn't do that. This and see right now there's a theme going right now. Um, and this on the Democratic and the Republican side. The Democratic, they're talking about, well, this person is supporting Trump and this Trump, and then the Republican side is, I'm gonna be like a soldier like Trump. I'm gonna Trump, and everybody is talking about that individual. But my thing is, I don't want to hear about that. I don't care whether you're for or against anybody. I want to know what you're going to do about these issues that's in our community. How are you going to rectify these problems that we have? Charles, talk to me, brother.
And I agree with you on that. And people backing Donald Trump or not backing Donald Trump, that's like you said, on the Democrat and Republicans, you got Republicans who don't back them and Republicans who do back them. But
Mm-hmm.
the way that is done, and it's just like what you're saying, it's a ploy to get people to listen to them and not
Mm-hmm.
to go by what they do.
Yeah.
You understand? So the thing about how I think people, well, how I vote, I go and look at how this person vote. If there was a senator or anything like that, and they're running for a president, I go see how they voted.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? If they voted don't match up to what I believe in, then I don't vote for them. You understand? Now, if they don't have a record of voting, like Ben Carson didn't have a record of voting certain ways, or because he wasn't in the Senate, or Donald Trump didn't have a certain work, then you have to go by other things. You got to read their books and things like that. But what you're saying is correct. Tell me what you're gonna do instead of trying to knock the other person down. And that's
Mm-hmm.
just the trick and the ploy on how both parties do things. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
And right now, the hot topic is Trump because people hate him and people love him. You
Mm-hmm.
understand? So the people who want the votes, who've been in office for years or just get in office, they're gonna ride that train one way or the other. You understand? And it's not
Mm-hmm.
really about what you're saying. Is that it's not really about just this exact thing you said. It's not really about, hey, we're gonna vote for this person because they stand on this issue.
Mm-hmm.
Trump is not an issue. Trump is a person. You
Mm-hmm.
understand? You might think and like how he thinks, but you still have to tell me what you're going to do,
Mm-hmm.
whether you like
Exactly.
him or not. You still got to tell me, just like you just said, tell me what you're going to do for the community. Tell me what you're going to do for the United States. Tell me what you're going to do to help.
Yeah.
What's the
Yeah.
solution, as they say? What's the solution?
Exactly. Exactly. Leonard,
Yes, sir.
talk to me, brother.
I mean, that is basically what I advocate for.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we may not agree about certain things, but at least I want to make sure that everybody has the opportunity to cast their vote without hindrance.
Mm-hmm.
That's what that whole one movement was about, is to end voter suppression. And we're still fighting it today because the attack is still on disenfranchising voters. Because who should be at the polls is those people who need the most. Those are the people that should be overwhelmingly at the polls.
Mm-hmm.
You got people with money will get to the point where, one, they don't care nothing about voting because they got money and they believe that they could buy their way out of every situation. But thank God for those decent people who understand it's about democracy. And they see that attack on democracy right now. You know, I'm not I'm not against people voting either way. However, why are you voting that way? And if you can look at me and everything you say is a lie and unbelievable and irrational, what other conclusion should I draw about you?
Mm.
What? You are what you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can, I mean, I don't know if you can help yourself or not, but there are some people that are not shamed about being filthy people or horrible people. They're not shamed about that. That's their
Mm-hmm.
agenda.
Yeah.
That's who they are.
Mm-hmm.
They could care. There are some people that are so wicked, they will support someone hurting someone else before they support someone supporting them.
Mm.
And that's just the nature of irrational, wicked people.
Mm-hmm.
Add low education to that, and add poverty to that, and add racism to that. And what do you have, America?
Wow. Wow. We got another caller. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
I think you might be talking to me, Raheem. This Kurt, man. Charm City,
Kurt.
Baltimore.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good morning, Kurt. How you doing this morning?
I'm all right, man. You all right, boy? Sound like cat just grab your tongue, boy.
What I say this morning? But look, Kurt, what we're talking about, man, we're talking about voting and how this whole process works. We're saying that it has been said that a lot of times people in office are just
I'm
figurehead.
sorry. Hold up.
Okay.
It said a lot of times what?
People in office are just figureheads, and they're just there to hold a position. They don't make any difference at all. And I say I'm going to vote, just for the record. Just I'm every time I explain this, I'm gonna say I'm going to vote. I'm going to continue to vote. I'm not going to stop voting. But if that be the case, if people in office are just figureheads, people to hold a seat, why should a person take the time to go and vote if that's the case? What do you say to that?
I'm going to vote. Because your vote is what puts the figure at the head.
Mm.
It's that simple. Go and vote so that if they're going to steal it, you can at least stand up on the fact that, hold on, I ain't vote for that man. I ain't vote for that woman.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who did. And the masses can stand up on it. But see, that's a ploy, man. There's a ploy to make folk not show up to vote.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying? Because with the powers to be, with everything you got going on, man, you have I think they call it an aristocracy or something like that. That's what's going on, man. You got a whole bunch of people who have been reading Ayn Rand's work
Mm-hmm.
since they was roughly about 16, 17 years old. You have a whole bunch of white supremacists, man. I will never forget. I seen a video that was on, I want to say it was YouTube, and it was an old white man. He was talking, he had on his Klan outfit. And he said that they realized in the Klan that in order to really do what they wanted to do, what they had to do was send their children to college, get their children to go and get the jobs that didn't have to have all the additional training like policemen, fire departments. They had to infiltrate the structures of America. So, like, yo, come on, man. Come on, man. Like, it's the least you could do.
Mm.
You know, people died, both black and white. People died because a collection of people in this country did not have the right to choose their own fate.
Mm.
For these
Wow.
people that's stuck with that foolishness, y'all need to go on with that, man. Go on with that. Ain't nobody going back to that day. You know what I mean? But I had something else I wanted to say, but I can't think of it right now.
Mm-hmm.
But nah, man, you right. You right. Go and vote anyway.
Yeah.
Even if you think it don't count. vote anyway. If
Exactly.
the person that you want ain't on the ballot, write their name on the ballot. You can do that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I want to could I go in there and write my name on the ballot and vote for myself.
You can do that.
You can.
What's the law
You
that say you
can.
can't?
Mm-hmm. Who you vote for? Me. In every category. I'm gonna put my name in there. Every category. Me. Me. Every category. I'm just gonna write my
You'll
name in there.
probably make
Me.
national news. You'll probably
Exactly.
make national news.
Yeah.
And somebody else gonna vote for you too.
Yeah, and somebody else might vote for me too. That's right. That's right. Before you know
Mm-hmm.
it, I ain't even ran down campaign, ain't said nothing about nothing, and I got all these votes. Now I'm talking about guess what, Raheem? You won. Won what? What I win? What I win?
Hey, you know, Raheem, I got a nephew that ran for um um, um office in a county in Alabama,
Mm-hmm.
and he was the only one on the ballot. Guess what?
He won.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, he won. He won. I spoke to a guy.
Yeah.
I spoke to a guy Sunday. I went to visit a friend of mine's church Sunday, and the guy was from Alabama. He's from Birmingham, and he was saying something. And this is off topic. He was saying something to me. And I asked him. I said, what's the climate like in Alabama? Because everybody know what it used to be. Everybody know what the climate in Alabama used to be. It used to be a lot of stuff going on. He said that it's changed. It's no longer that way. There's not a whole lot of racism and stuff like that going on in Alabama. He said the part that break his heart is all, in his words, us against us down there in Alabama now. And he said that's the major problem that's going on. Us against us. We doing this to each other. We and Tucson, you live down in that area, man. What is really going on? Is that the issue as you see it?
That's what they want the issue to,
Mm-hmm.
and we fall for it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all you got to do is put it a little bit out there,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll fight each other. See that we're persuaded by things,
Mm-hmm.
and then we think we have something, and because we have two nickels more than the next person,
Mm-hmm.
we think we have arrived,
Mm-hmm.
and we see those that arrive and those that don't arrive start fighting against each other.
Mm-hmm.
Well, none of us arrive,
Mm-hmm.
really.
Yeah.
And just because you think you're there, then you got your nose up in the air. And see, we have a good crab mentality, crab in the bucket mentality,
Yeah.
that I don't want you up there.
Mm-hmm.
And see, while we are fighting each other, they celebrate and say, I told you that's what they would do. The silliest thing I ever heard in my life was the campaign that caused, and I'm just talking about it because maybe I'm wrong. Y'all tell me that I'm wrong, and I'll be good with that. The reason why
Mm.
Trump won is he played the role of not being like the rest of the politicians.
Yeah. Yeah.
He played the role of a good businessman, which he's not.
Mm.
But because he said that he was going to expose all of the crooked politicians, which he was one of them, he just wasn't a politician, he was a crooked businessman.
Mm-hmm.
One hook, line, and sinker. But that was a stupid campaign because he's a crook.
Mm-hmm.
And he's
Wow.
more than just me. And I'm not just because, the matter of fact, the truth be told, I like the guy
Mm-hmm.
because he talked trash. He
Mm-hmm.
talked foolishness, and this country loves foolishness because we all foolish. Because I'm just saying, not all of us, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
For the
Yeah.
most part,
Mm-hmm.
we go and we celebrate, and I say we because I live in this country, which I never was a citizen. How do you think that working out?
Mm-hmm.
If I was a citizen, I can go and buy a house in a neighborhood, in any neighborhood, and the value of the house won't go down.
Mm-hmm.
if I was a real citizen. But as soon as I move in, I'd be doggone if it ain't worse as much as it was from than the previous owner. What?
Mm-hmm.
What?
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So
Wow.
with you, you, we have those that are down south. That's why I like Mississippi because you find out what it's really all about. You
Mm-hmm.
see it head on. I live among the real folks.
Mm.
That
Okay.
they smile, but you know they hate
Mm.
you. Good. I don't hate you, but I don't care for you either.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Wow.
But
Let.
then when I tell you to do something, you go do it
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and be done with it. And when
Exactly.
I say it, I go close my door and go sit down somewhere. See how that works out.
Mm-hmm. Leonard, what's on your heart, brother?
Just listening, and it becomes more and more important that especially communities of color focus a lot more on progress and democracy
Mm-hmm.
because it is truly what has set you free. It is what keeps us all free. Now I know some people they have issues personally and they want to pretend like ain't nothing better, ain't nothing happened, but that's just dissidence
Mm.
because one that's something that you can go read that and see where things are much different. However, you are more responsible for yourself than ever before. And that's what you have to focus on. Your
Mm-hmm.
responsibility to yourself, to your family, to your community. What is it that you want? I don't know about everybody else, but my property value going up.
Mm-hmm.
Is your property value going up?
Sure did.
How about yours, Charles? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you got property that's value that's going up. Then you have gainful employment. Your kids are doing well. They're able to choose what they want. Some of your children are phenomenal, especially in your families.
Mm-hmm.
You have children doing phenomenal things. But yet you got somebody coming in and tell you ain't nobody doing nothing. The world is a horrible place, and you ought to just go somewhere, and we ought to just go to Africa, and we ought to separate ourselves from this, that, or the other, and we need to go away, and we so sick, and we so hurt, and we take y'all tail over there somewhere while we over here being decent Americans trying to do the best we can.
Mm-hmm.
What happened to doing the best that you actually can do? What happened to that? And black people have to learn. All skin ain't kin.
Mm.
Assuming that we all have the same point of view because we black is foolish. We have the same enemy, but we don't all live the same, believe the same, act the same, eat the same, and everything. And then what's good for Raheem may not be good for me.
Mm-hmm.
What's good for Charles may not be good for me.
Because I'm not gonna eat your chitlins.
It
I'm
just
not gonna eat
depends.
your chitlins.
Exactly. I may not want to. I may not want to go to the synagogue. I may not want to go to the mosque. I may not want to go to your church.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the type of person to make sure you have that opportunity and that choice and that freedom.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Wow.
my whole point of view, not just for me and my selfish self and my selfish reasons, but for the benefit of all men. All
Mm.
men. All men. Period.
I'm gonna tell you something. And this is changing the subject. Why I guess staying the same. I'm gonna go to Charles. I'm gonna go to Charles as well with this. On XM, there's a guy, Sirius XM. There's a guy called who's it? Clay Kane. I think that's his name. Clay Kane. He on Urban Soul. Is the
Yeah,
station.
he's with the new group of folks.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
fairly new.
Hey, hey, Kirk, mute your phone there, Kirk. I think that your line got a lot of background noise coming through.
Raheem, that's not me. My phone was already muted.
Where that's coming from? Hold on, Tucson. That's you. Well, it's gone now. But
On mute.
I don't know where it was coming from. But my thing is right here. He had a show, an upcoming show that he was going to do because he's always talking about. He said people, not him. He said people are always talking about black on black crime which is a huge issue. But he said they never talk about white on white crime. He said which is an equal or greater of greater numbers. And so he was going to do a show. I'm gonna go back. I got to listen to the show because I was actually tired of that day. I couldn't tune in, so I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna listen to the show and say he's gonna have a lot of people that's coming on the show, our Caucasian brothers and sisters, and have them to speak on white crime, and just to see how much of an issue it really is. I think that the issue is you become violent with the people that you're around most. And I don't think it has anything to do whether you're black, white, orange, polka dot, or striped. I believe it's the people that you're more around the most is the person or the people that you'll probably attack. Charles, what do you say to that, man? Is it such a large issue, black on black crime versus white on white crime, or just crime and violence and all that stuff is just sickening?
It's just crime altogether, man. You got black on black crime, you got white on white crime. The part that gets me, if I'm talking about white on white crime, I'm not going to bring up black on black crime. If I'm talking about black on black crime, I'm not going to bring up white on white crime. But either way it goes, we do have a certain percentage, and this is just honest, man, and not picking on, it's just you have a certain percentage of people in the United States that cause the most crime. All right? And that's just what it is. You have a certain demographic of people, age group, all that are causing the most crimes, that are causing the most murders. Those you do have that. I mean, whether we want to, if we believe that white on white crime and the FBI shows you this, and black on black crime, the FBI shows you that, then we have to believe the same thing about the demographic of who are the people that are causing these crimes, because it's the same people who bring you these numbers. Now, if you think the numbers are false, then all the numbers are false. It can't, you know what I'm saying? It can't be go for one and go for the other. So yes, crimes are community crimes, but you do have a certain demographic that steps over those lines of community and go to other communities and cause crimes.
Let me ask you this question, Charles, and I know you being who you are, you can actually handle this question. If I'm in a group of people, if I'm in a collective of people, and in that group, I have three Chinese. Let me write it down so I remember the numbers that I said. I can't forget. You have 3 Chinese. You have 10 blacks, and you have 60 whites. Okay? 60. Yeah.
I thought I said 16. All right, 60.
Okay, and of that, you have 0 Chinese that commit crime. 0. They go about their business, stay among themselves, stuff like that. In the blacks, so you have 5 people that create crimes and do different things, and in the whites, so you have 25 people that has committed crime and stuff like that. And you look at the numbers and you tally all the numbers and you say, man, look here. Oh man, half of them blacks are committing crimes. Half of the black people are committing most of the crime. That's not necessarily true when you look at the whites, and there's 25 of them, which is more than double. Actually,
all right, 25 times 2 is what?
25 times 2 is 10.
All right, and then you said how many? No, 25 times 2 is what?
I got you. I got it that time. Don't let. I said 10. What you say now? 25 times 2. 25 times 2 is 50, brother.
All right, and then you got, so 25 is not 50% of 60, correct?
No, but
what
I'm doing.
Hold on.
No. You see, you go in a different direction with this. Let me. I'm gonna tell you what I'm doing here, because
Okay.
I'm looking at the numbers. See, you're trying to equate them in a different way, but I'm just looking at the numbers. Okay, let me do this.
Okay, I'm gonna let you go, and then I get to speak.
Exactly. And I'm gonna hush my mouth and let you say what you want to say.
All right.
In the Chinese, you got 0. You got 10. You got 10 blacks. 5 of them has committed crime. So people say that that's half. Okay, you got 60 whites, and 25 of that 60 has committed crime. Now, is that 25 a greater number than that 5?
Yeah, now I can ask.
Yeah, I'm waiting on you.
25 is lower than 5. But percentage wise, the blacks have more because 50% is more than 45% or 40%.
But see, and that's where the
But
trick comes in. That's where the trick. Go ahead. I'm gonna let you finish. I'm coming. Go ahead. I'm gonna let you finish. I'm gonna come back after you, and then we're gonna go to
because what you're saying is percentage. You understand? I don't know. You have to understand what percentage is. 50%. If it's 5 blacks, if it's 10 blacks, and 5 of them causing crimes, that's 50% of the blacks that are causing crime. Correct. Right? If
Yes.
it's 60 whites and only 25% or 25 of them is causing crimes, that's less than 50% of the people of whites causing crimes, correct?
Now let me ask you this. Yeah. What neighborhood would you rather live in? The neighborhood where 5 people
Was
commit
no crime. Was no crime. I live with Chinese people. They
well,
ain't killing nobody.
you ain't gonna live over there, brother. You ain't gonna live over there. But
Yeah, you can. But
would you
anyway,
would you rather live in a community where you have 5 or 10 people committing crime, or 25%? What is the likelihood of you being assaulted or a crime being committed against you if there's 25 people doing it in comparison to 5?
percentage wise, is always the percentage, man. The lesser percentage is always the lesser amount.
And see, you did exactly what I wanted you to do, because what you just did is you spoke a narrative of what they try to do and how they try to fluff it and make
No,
that.
brother, you're not understanding.
I
You
no,
don't
I
you don't
understand.
understand. You don't understand percentage, man.
No, it
It's,
has
if
no.
it's a less percentage, if it's a less percentage of me getting into a car accident, I want to be in a place where it's less percentage, not the less car accidents, the less percentage of me getting into a car accident. You
Wow.
understand? Just like if you're in a college town, you might be less drivers in that town, but the
So
percentage is higher because of college students wreck more.
okay, let's do this because I see you want to hang. I'm coming to you, Curtis. I heard you. I see you want to hold on and grasp onto the percentage. Let's take the
But
percentage out.
that's what makes sense.
Hold on. Let's take that part. Let's, for the sake of the conversation, let's take the word percentage out of it. Who's committing more crimes?
The people who commit the more crimes. What do you
What,
mean?
what,
I don't get it.
what is that?
That's my phone. Hold on.
Go ahead.
But
Go ahead.
the people who commit the less crimes, that's who committed less crimes. If you don't count percentage, you don't have a count at all. You can make it. You can make it to wherever you want to make it to,
Yeah, my point.
and then you'll win. But it's not a win thing. It's just that, and it's not a right and wrong thing with me. It's just that a percentage is a percentage, meaning that if a certain amount of if the percentage of certain if you got 100 people black and 100 people white, and 50% of the people black do something, or 40% of the white do something, the percentage is what counts, man. It's not actually the number of people, because we all know there are more white people that get attacked by police or get killed by cops.
You said
But
it's white people.
listen, percentage number wise is more white people because it's more white people. But percentage wise, blacks get attacked by police more. Percentage wise, we do. Percentage wise, blacks get incarcerated more. Percentage wise, we do. You understand? That's what brings the unfairness to it. You understand? So you can't have one and then have the other. You understand? You can't, just because to make it fit your narrative. It's got to be, you go across the board the same way. You understand? You can't go, if it fits, it fits. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But you can't make it fit by the words you say by changing the words. You get what I'm saying?
I do understand what you're saying, but at the same time, I don't think I know that you understand what I'm saying, but for whatever reason, you don't want to see what I'm saying. But go
I
ahead, Curtis.
understand what you're trying to say, brother. I do, but you're not correct. I understand.
Charles.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Curtis.
Well, first I want to say,
okay, I hear him now.
Charles, I love you. I love you. But I need to know what makes you think you correct. And you can answer that after I finish, because what Raheem is speaking about is called raw data.
Exactly.
That's raw data. He's speaking at the human quality. Okay, we're talking about human beings, the simple raw data of the numbers. He gave you raw data, and then you injected statistics, which clearly and directly lines up with percentages. Statistics are used for one reason and one reason only. It is to skew the numbers. In most cases, it is to skew the facts. The fact is at the end of the day, 5 people committed murder, committed crimes over here, 25 committed crimes over there. But if I roll with a percentage, then I can skew those numbers, brother. And you have to be able to see that. And if you're going to roll with the percentages, then you have to account for the percentage of population because he gave you the raw data on the population.
Mm-hmm.
The populations that he gave was, what was it, Raheem? 3,
Yeah.
10, and 25.
Mm-hmm.
So if you just go with the percentage of the actual happening without the raw data, without the percentage of, okay, who has the majority in this case, then of course what you're saying is going to make sense because you have removed the raw data, the idea of raw data. You have specifically looked at the percentage, but you purposely did not gauge the overall percentage of population,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
which totally throws your whole hypothesis completely out in left field. And that is the problem in America, and that is the problem with certain politicians, is they love to throw percentages out there. Percentages, not even realizing that you're skewing what is considered true facts because you're not accounting for all of the percentages.
Mm-hmm.
You're not accounting for all of the raw data. You're just accounting for a specific part of the raw data. We saw it unfold in KBJ. We saw it unfold. Here is this lady, for example, I'll end with this. The lady had I think she said over 527, close to 527 cases that she ruled on. They picked 11 out of 527. So if she had a total of 22 cases dealing with child pedophilia, and she ruled 11 ways that's not in your favor, now all of a sudden she's for child pedophilia. But hold on, she's soft on crime. Well, this lady had over 527 cases where she ruled straight down the line of what the rules say. So how you gonna tell me that was slick what you did though? That was real slick what you did. And for what you did was you removed what they call critical thinking or deductive reasoning. The problem is whenever you remove deductive reasoning from your attempt to solve an issue and or problem, your deductive reasoning is not reasoning anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's what I like to call dictative thought.
Mm-hmm. Good deal. Good deal.
So, Raheem, you are absolutely right, my brother.
Mm-hmm.
You are absolutely right.
Good deal. Let me go
if you look at the raw data.
Exactly. Rico, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Well, I can't complain, man. Welcome to a new day, everybody.
Hey, welcome to you as well, brother. Welcome to you as well. What do you hear about this whole scenario I just put out there, man? You got 3 Chinese, you got 10 blacks, and you have 60 whites. Of the 3 Chinese, there's no crime. Of the blacks, there is 5, and of the whites, there's 25. But they say 50%, and 50%. That is 50%. Let's put that on the table. It is 50%, but let's look at the real, like Kurt just explained. Let's look at the real numbers. What do you say today? What just happened?
This is where critical thinking comes in.
Mm-hmm.
You have to take that word problem and put it into a formula. And in that formula, you were trying to solve for Y or X. But what is Y or X?
Mm-hmm.
So Y or X is either going to be the percentage of all total crime or the percentage of crime committed by a certain population.
Mm-hmm.
So if you take those 10 black people and 5 of them committed crime, you could say, well, you know what? Half them black people are criminals.
Mm-hmm.
But if you take that 25%, that 25 with the what did you say, 60 white people?
Yes. Uh-huh.
You can say, well, that is about 40%. 45% of those white people commit crimes. So overall, it's more criminals, or those black population has more of a percentage of criminal. Half of them are criminals.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, not half of the white people are criminals
Mm-hmm.
or have committed crimes, put it that way. But now you go back and say, well, who commits the most of all crimes? Now you just changed why.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, white people committed the most of all crime, the biggest percentage of it. But see, all of them numbers still will remain the same. So to tell the truth, both of y'all are telling the truth. It's just a matter of you're getting the answer that you want to hear based off the question that you're asking or
Mm-hmm.
whatever you're looking for. If you're looking for who committed the most crime, then you can say white people committed the most crime. If you
Mm-hmm.
can say what population of people have the most crime, or the most people that commit crimes, then you will say, well, the percentage of black people commit most crimes in their population,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because that would be 50% of the black
Yeah.
population.
Yeah.
Well, only
Yeah.
40% of the black population. You get what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
it's just a matter of solving for why. And that's the thing when you said that you talked to the dude from Alabama, and he said what his opinion was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That really depends on who you ask and what they value,
Yeah.
what they look forward to. You know, he said that about the black on black. And that is true. You know, I'm gonna tell you something, man. You come to Alabama, man, you see more black people driving Mercedes, and you know they're doing better economically. But when you talk about getting into these politics,
Mm-hmm.
it's getting worse.
Mm-hmm.
When you talk about funding the schools or going to PTA meetings or PTO meetings, and whose children are in courts more, we ain't showing up.
Mm.
We looking great. We wearing red bottles now. We taking pictures. We looking fabulous. We taking trips. We buying nice homes. We moving in the neighborhoods we hadn't been moving into. And the children of those people are going to, nicer colleges and doing better, starting businesses before they even get out of college. They're doing good. Some
Mm-hmm.
people are actually starting businesses for their very young children, 6 or 7 years old,
Mm-hmm.
setting them up for the future.
Yeah.
But at the same time, those schools that depend on public funding, those children aren't getting that. They
Mm-hmm.
struggling. They struggling. It's a lot worse than what it was in the past. See, a lot of these things evolve, and if you're not going through it, you're gonna base a question somebody asks off of what you value. So
Mm-hmm.
these same people, if you talk to black politicians, you're trying to pull teeth to get them to come vote, to get them to come to city council meetings, to get them to actually pay attention to what's going on in politics, so they don't sound stupid when they come and asking city councilmen for loans for their businesses.
Mm-hmm.
Just all kind of out of order stuff. Now that you're getting a name, now that you're becoming successful, now that you have access to people with power, you come and talk and ask questions and have requests that are completely ignorant and stupid because you ain't never been entertained by politics, concerned with politics, and you still ain't concerned until you need to use this politician to
Mm-hmm.
get what you need to get,
Exactly.
which
Exactly.
she can't even help you with. So I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it really depends on who you ask the questions to. If you really ask what's going on in Alabama, you should ask too. Okay, well, what's going on with these 3 mega prisons?
Mm-hmm.
What's going on with the critical race theory that they keep filibustering on? What's going on with this removal of racist stuff on the flags and in the Constitution? What's going on with this charter school? Why y'all just not getting a lottery? Who kept y'all from getting a lottery the first time? Oh, might have punished the people that's trying to get it in now.
Mm-hmm.
Why aren't y'all getting the education lottery? Why are they trying to change it from the lottery that Georgia and Florida has, when you know that you can actually put underprivileged children through schools, help benefit their schools through this lottery for education,
Mm-hmm.
education lottery. So when you ask certain people certain questions, depending on how they're living, that might be the way they respond, and they answer. The answer is
Absolutely.
given to you, and depending on what type of answer that you want to get, that might determine the question of how you ask the question.
Mm-hmm. Good deal. Good deal. Leonard.
I think, just listening to you all's discussion, what problem does this solve?
Mm.
What? But just a argument in a debate. What problem does it solve? Does it solve problem with crime for any color of people? Probably not. What it does, if you've heard, and the real strategy of the matter is to every time you hear crime, that black is either preceding that or after that. That's the strategy.
Mm.
Black crime, crime black, black. You can't say white crime because then you change the narrative. Then how would you make people believe that one, if you focus more resources to law enforcing and over policing on blacks, that is what you should do? That is what really the information and the strategy. Say black and crime together as much as possible.
Mm.
So then you can justify just about any type of policy to profile African American people. That's the issue,
Mm-hmm.
not how you counted it or anything like that. What you're using the information for. People don't do research unless there's an issue. You start with a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And usually you do the research to determine the policy initiative. But also the research has to be, you have to be able to use the research to come up with a generalized opinion first.
Mm-hmm.
That generalized opinion usually fits the majority of the data. I could pull just little pieces out of there. And if it's just black on black crime, that means that white folks shouldn't have nothing to worry about, do they?
Mm.
What they worried about?
Mm.
What are they worried about? Why are they always funding these over policing of African American communities and things if ain't nobody bothering you?
Yeah.
Since you've been saying black on black crime, sounds like it's a black people issue, right? Matter of fact, white folks ought to get out of it, period, shouldn't they?
Mm. That don't have a dog in the fight.
I'm just saying, if it's black on black crime, is the problem.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't affecting white folks, so why they so interested in it?
Mm.
See, that's the thing about it. You can argue over numbers all you want to. As a person that does statistics and research or whatever, you can make numbers do what you want to do. All you have to do is play with the population,
Mm-hmm.
play with the time, play with the age, do whatever you want to make a point. You can do that with numbers if that's what you so desire.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, what is this knowledge being used for? It's being used to support certain policy agendas. That's what's most important. And the strategy is to make other people believe that the majority of budgets and everything should go into what? Racialized policing.
Mm-hmm.
Black folks know the issues that they have in their community. The half of them got their heads stuck into the sand. It's always a we issue. No, it's your son.
Mm-hmm.
It's your son. Anytime somebody started talking to me, my son ain't no angel. Get out of my office.
Mm-hmm.
Get out. Your son is a criminal.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm interested in? He murdered that lady at the bus stop. I am interested in him going to the jail for the rest of his natural life. That's what I'm interested in.
Mm.
That's what I'm interested in. Not how he grew up, his family members, what happened. No. He killed a human being sitting on a bus stop just because. That's crime. Take the color out of it. Pretty soon when black people get to that, they're going to clean up their communities.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to quit fighting about those things that we just fight in debate about.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Folks dying outside.
Mm-hmm.
While y'all are here talking about how somebody came up with a freaking number. People dying outside. You don't need to look at them numbers at all.
Mm-hmm. Hold on, Leonard. 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Charles, are you there?
I'm here, man.
Okay. What's on your heart, brother?
I agree with Leonard, man, what he was just saying, because we were just speaking about that. It's funny how everything tied together. We was just talking about this yesterday on a part that he was saying that if each person take care, make sure their own is not doing something. You understand? If Junior ain't, thank you, but if Junior ain't out there robbing someplace or doing something bad, then why, then everything will start going down. If you know where Junior is at and why he's doing this and what he's not doing, then those crime rates would go down in the black community or any community. It doesn't, but if we're speaking about the black community and crime rates in the black community, if you know where yours is at and what yours is doing at all times, and those rates will go down. Simple as that. We will be more protected. We wouldn't have to have the cops to come around. You understand? We wouldn't need the police to be around at all times if you take care of make sure yours is taken care of. You got like cities like in certain cities, and this is the truth, is whether 75% of the crime murders are not even solved. And this is because blacks are not telling what happened. You understand? Because these are most likely blacks that are getting killed. And the other blacks are not telling this who done it. Whether they're gangbangers or not, well, they're just gangbangers. They're still, people are people. They need to find out who murdered them so nobody else will get murdered. So, yeah, if you know where Junior is at, or if it ain't a Junior, you know what I'm saying, Ray them at, then we know how to stop things or how to make things not go further when it comes to crime in the black community. You understand? And one thing I'm gonna say that I think Leonard just said about saying black and crime and black and crime, I think that has reversed a little bit these days, because if you see, and they had a study on, and they was showing video of CNN when it was a white mass shooter or a white shooting a black, it was white shooting a black. But when it was a black shooting a white, it was always a person. They never come out with the color unless the person was white and black. And I don't think they did that because they love white or they love blacks. I think they did that to pit whites against blacks or pit blacks against whites. Divide and conquer. You understand? Because when we all start thinking the same and doing the same thing, then results will get done. But I think the media does things to divide us. People do things to divide us and make us think about our skin color before they think about our humanity.
Wow.
And when you think about, if you worshiping your skin color, whether you're white or black or what have you, you think about that before your humanity, then somebody controlling you. You're a puppet. Your humanity come first, because think about it. If, like we just said the other day, when those people was getting pulled off that those trains in New York after the shooting, blacks were helping whites and everybody was helping everybody. They were like, I ain't gonna help you because you're white. I ain't helping you because you black. People were helping each other. You understand? You didn't see, it wasn't that skin color was an issue. It was that we trying to survive. Everybody went into survival mode. Everybody went into help mode, and you do that. Look, man, I've been in the medical field for a long time, and it's a really, really, really staunch racist, a person who say, I ain't gonna take no help from you because you black. Out of the 30 years I've been in the medical field, and somebody in a bad situation, man, I might have heard that maybe once. Because when you hurt and you need help, you know what I'm saying? You need that pint of blood. I ain't taking that blood unless it's white blood. Or I ain't taking that blood unless it's black. You don't hear that when people are in a certain situation, man. You really, really don't. It's rare. It's rare, like rare as in rare is rare.
Absolutely.
Not that there's not races out there, but when you're talking about a true racist, you got people who say they ain't taking blood before religion, before race.
Yeah. Let me go to Curtis. Curtis, what's on your heart, brother? Rico, coming to you next. Curtis, you there? Okay, let Rico talk.
Yeah, right.
All right, go ahead, brother. What's on your heart?
I'm ready to run for public office in about 4 years, so I might abstain from this conversation altogether.
Did he say
What
40
I do,
or
Yeah, he said
4?
40 years. He said 40. He said 40.
I
And
said
about
four.
oh,
I said 4.
oh, you said 4. I thought you said 40.
Oh,
Okay. Y'all good to say, good
Uh,
Lord.
40 years. I hope I can still be here.
Mm-hmm.
Man, whenever I'm presented with this situation that we presented in right here, I like to look at all the data and not just the data that supports my personal ideology and or belief, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or a particular party or party affiliation. I look at it from a strictly raw data perspective, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if I take the scenario that you gave us, right, then the raw data says what it says. Truth gonna say what it says. Truth does not have to be defended. It does not have to be explained because most of the time, truth lies directly in the eye and lands directly on the ear. So I get how people want to skew the numbers, and it goes back to what Rico said. If someone is saying something to you that, and you don't know much about critical thinking and the process thereof, then it's okay. It's acceptable for you to take what they're saying as truth. But what ain't true is they have not given you the full data. Now, I heard Leonard say something about over policing. You know, the city of Baltimore, Leonard, did a study on over policing.
Mm-hmm.
And what they found was almost amazing. But the reason why they didn't take the study and go beyond that and move in the direction of community policing and things of that nature is because a variable jumped in the way. The variable was the policemen's union.
Mm.
Now, when you talk about community policing, you're talking about some people jobs.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about holding folks accountable who are normally in a position to move in the direction, in whatever direction they choose to, without any oversight and or accountability. See, when you talk about community policing, you take no, there's a possibility that everybody is held accountable. We saw it in New York years ago when we was growing up with the 75th and the 76 precincts when the whole entire precinct went to prison.
Mm.
That had a lot to do with community policing. The community said, look, I'm sick of this. All these drugs we got in this community, and half of the dealers that's in the community is the police. So, you know, I get it. I get it. We want to skew numbers to fit our narrative. When they did the test here, they found out that the communities that was over policed had more crime in them than the communities that was under policed.
Mm.
However, the communities that was under policed were communities that were slightly above the poverty level, if not above the poverty level.
Mm-hmm.
So, right, they found that over policing does not work. What it does is it creates the me against you kind of mentality. I know that with my own eyes. I drove 10 blocks and counted 43 police cars.
Good Lord.
43.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? So I'll end with this. Whenever you have an element where those who are responsible to police a given community and or society are just as crooked, or if not more crooked, than that very same element and or society, the society will automatically, the human mind will automatically push back on that authority.
Mm-hmm.
And they will also say, what do you mean it's wrong for me? It's not wrong for him.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Rico?
I don't think Curtis was finished. Was he finished?
Yeah. Curtis, were you done, brother?
Yeah, no, I'm finished, bro. I'm finished. Thanks, Rick.
Okay. Man, it's I heard Charles say a key word: humanity.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you know, in somebody's conscious thinking, when they have all these other factors to play in mind of how they were brought up, they might say, you know what, I don't want your help, you N-word.
Mm-hmm.
But then you know what I found out? I didn't even have to look at the subway shooting the other day. After 9/11, New Yorkers told me that they seen the most unity up there that they had ever seen in their life. They didn't even know it could exist.
Mm-hmm.
That you walk up and embrace people that you didn't even know. You could look in the eyes of other people and realize just what type of terror they saw. And they really appreciated humanity then.
Mm-hmm.
Like Charles said, you can worry about self, but somewhere unconsciously, your humanity is going to kick in and you ain't going to be thinking about no color. When you want somebody to save your life and that light, and it seems like the light is dimming out on your life,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to be saying, save me. You don't care who it is.
Yeah.
Even if Jesus may be black.
Mm-hmm.
So the humanity part of it, no matter how much we want to think individually and with all these other things that's going on, we are still going to think in a humane nature of a community. You know what I'm saying? We're going the preservation of life is going to take over. Boom, you're going to respond because you realize and appreciate how valuable life is and not just yours. You might risk your life saving somebody else.
Yeah.
That's what makes a fireman a fireman. That's what makes a good cop a good cop. But now I'm gonna talk about the importance of these numbers. Curtis hit it when he said that about using it to explain a narrative your way, but it's also to impose the will. See, if you can control the conditions, you can see the outcome of them conditions.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I wanted to fix a situation, I could go back and I could say, well, you know what? If half of those black people are committing crimes, maybe we can find out what's making them want to commit the crime. Is it their living conditions?
Mm-hmm. Come on.
See, there's always going to be some conditions that can contribute to the reasons a person behaves the way they behave and act. So maybe I can improve the conditions to where crime isn't an option.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's too many black people for just those little 10 for them to be acting up and out of order like that.
Mm-hmm.
Now I could go back and say, well, you know what? The conditions I created work. Now let's go and make some more profits off of it and say it's a war on drugs. Let's talk about Richard Nixon.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't that what he did?
Yes, sir.
Those numbers important.
Mm-hmm.
But then somebody else can come back and say, well, let's look at these numbers. Majority of white people on opioids and heroin, let's get them therapy. Mm-hmm. Let's start legalizing and decriminalizing some drugs because we don't need to take these mothers away from their innocent little babies after all these black women had their babies in prison. These crack mamas and crack babies that they put another label on. Those conditions that are created that some people don't even realize unconsciously was put there for them to fall into the web of because they are trying to survive this thing that they really don't realize they have control of because they didn't have the upbringing that everybody else had to understand to think critically and break down reasoning. See, the people in power, they get this data for a reason. So we could dismiss it all day long and say, well, you know, well, what's the use of getting the numbers? What's the use of getting the numbers? Well, somebody want them.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody beyond me and you. That's why they out there. And if you listen to them and you realize why they want them, it's all for this thing that we speak of all the time called propaganda and agenda and all of these different other words that people use that it benefits them because they have the power to use this data to justify the reason why they voted or did something in the past, like created a super predator. See, I don't care what created the super predator.
I just want to get them off the street so they don't kill my good old mother.
Mm-hmm.
So how you gonna stop the super predator from being reproduced? If you got a non-stop factory of super predators being produced, you can also have a non-stop factory. You can make money off of those people when you put them in jail or in the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So
Wow.
let's not go to the source. Let's not use these numbers and talk about the poverty that we created and the injustice and the inequality that we know exists. Let's say, none of that plays a part. Let's say psychology and positive reinforcement and learned behavior plays a part in nothing. And let's just say everybody got the right to make a choice and it's their fault. Lock them up. That's what Joe Biden said. I don't care about a super predator, where they came from. I don't care what created them. I just want them off the street. And the super predator unconsciously look like my son and your son.
Wow. Wow. Leonard,
Wonder what, Raheem?
what's on your heart, brother? Talk to me. This
Not,
super.
not a whole lot. Not a whole
Mhm.
lot, because I don't have the what would you say? I represent a human rights organization, so I'm particularly concerned about humanity and addressing issues and problems. And I don't allow myself to be biased.
Mm.
If you out here slaughtering individuals in your community, you're the problem. You're the problem. I don't care what nobody say.
Mm.
You don't kill 6 or 7 people in your community. No, I don't have any compassion for you. I don't. I'm sorry you feel that you deserve that compassion, but I don't. And it crosses the color line, because it's when you sit in courts with whites and you look at that as well, guess what? They just as violent and criminal as everything else. You know what? Criminals and everything come from all over. It doesn't even matter if they got 2 parents or not a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
They just behave a certain way because of their psychology. For whatever reason, why they doing. I don't care about Jeffrey Dahmer's upbringing when it comes to what he did. I'm going to punish him for what he did.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to sit here and try to come up with ways to give excuses for what he did. Go to church for that. Get your hearts right. Go somewhere else. But the government ain't the place to get your heart right. Good religion produces better outcomes. Maybe thou shalt not kill. Maybe you shouldn't kill. Maybe you shouldn't commit armed robbery. Maybe you shouldn't rape. Maybe you shouldn't molest, or what have you. But we see people now using these excuses as defenses to crime. That don't make sense. You
What do you?
walked into a courtroom and said the reason why you kill these people is because your father wasn't in the home. That's your defense. That is actually your defense. That makes no sense.
Well, see, I'm the guy that I deal with both sides of the coin. I like to deal with both sides of the coin, and when you say that does not make any sense to a rational mind, you could be absolutely right. You could be absolutely totally right without a shadow of a doubt. But are we talking about a rational mind?
But
Are we
I don't even,
talking?
it's not so much as about being right, it's about the evidence.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you look over these victims this way?
No. My thing is, and I'm not trying to justify or make it appear as though I'm saying that this person is innocent, this person. No, what they did was terrible, absolutely terrible. To take anybody's life is terrible. It really is, and I don't agree with that. No parts of no piece, part, or element of me at all. But what I'm saying is, when you're dealing with it, and I'm gonna go to Curtis with this. Because Curtis, he that's what he do. But when you deal with somebody's mind, when you deal with the mind of an individual, not everybody's dots are going to connect like ours do. Curtis, what do you say to that, man? And we're not trying to justify murder. We're not trying to say that the person is innocent. We're not trying to say the person is right. But when we're dealing with the mind, when we're dealing with the mind of an individual, sometimes Curtis, and like I say, this is your profession, man. You counselor and stuff like that. You deal with people's minds. How would you explain that, Curtis? You there?
Well, you asking me?
Yes.
Yeah. Wow, you have explain uh, the most complex muscle and organism on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's extremely hard to explain. First off, when you look at statistical data, if I'm not mistaken, the average inner city uh, impoverished youth experiences PTSD or heightened levels of PTSD by the time they turn 8 years old.
Wow. Wow.
You bottleneck
Mm.
that PTSD. You never treat it. So what do you think happens at some? Hey, what's up, Chief? Yes, sir. At some point, that very same level of PTSD is going to be relieved. Um, I'm reminded of play that Malcolm said, you stack people on top of people out here so they can't breathe. And when they can't breathe, they strike out. And they strike out against the only people that's available, which is us, themselves. So, I mean, looking at it from where I'm seeing it and what I'm seeing going on is what you have is a narrative that perpetuates a given culture and or community that is less than. So it's basically you're perpetuating the I don't give a attitude towards self, right? So if you perpetuate that, or if all you show consistently to the national public is those very same people always being the criminals, always being the murderers, always being the robbers, always being the aggressive uh, 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 culture in a given culture, then what happens is the mindset of the people as a whole, society as a whole, develops a how can I say this? You automatically will develop a line of defense against that particular people.
Mm-hmm.
And Rico, right? When you looking at this thing on as a whole, you can't just pick out little parts and say, well, this is them and this is why they do it. They just do it because they don't care. That's not true. That's far beyond the truth. Most of us live where we live because we did not want to live around that, right? But when you look at it as a whole, you have whole communities that are living in that consistent basis of fear. They living consistently with that. Oh Lord, such just came home from jail. Oh Lord, you don't know if this man was rehabilitated or no. You know, so it's shameful to say, but society as a whole has drank the most poisonous of Kool-Aids, the one that dictates your thought, the one that makes you too lazy to do any real homework beyond what is shown to you. And I'll just say this. I remember in 2004, 2003, I was pulling loads out of Georgia. I'll never forget, I was coming through Georgia on a Sunday. And you know how you got the radio stations. I listened to like 90.1 and 88.1, stuff like that, 90.7. And they had a televangelist or radio, I forget what you call him, but he was a preacher on the radio. And this man literally was telling his flock that it was okay to discriminate because Jesus discriminated.
Wow.
And he actually pulled scripture and verse. Now, look at it like this. Imagine that little boy that's about 8 years old that is now starting to have some form of creative thought and process. Now imagine he go to church He hear this in his house. He hear this in his community. He's shown this in the community. And then he go to church and he hear it at church. What is his conscience of?
Exactly. Absolutely.
You gotta understand the problems of what's going on in America in terms of black and white, whatever, is a problem that is systemic. It's systemic because there was a narrative being pushed to create this problem. This problem didn't just happen. This was created.
Good deal. Good deal. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Rico?
Yeah, you know, it goes back to what I was saying again earlier about narrative. You know, what happened then a second ago was spin. I don't think anybody was trying to excuse a super predator. But we do have to understand why conditions are important. Because if you actually want to chastise or actually condemn somebody for using an excuse, you should condemn the people that decided to put the opioid abusers in therapy instead of in prison. Like they did the crackheads, the crack addicts. See, evidently, they felt like certain conditions existed, which may have been, they were on prescription drugs at first for a back pain, and then they got pulled off the prescriptions, and the pharmaceutical companies aren't held responsible. So now they're doing street drugs, and we don't want to put them in prison because that would be inhumane. See, we understand the conditions that created that. But now all of a sudden, when you talk about the super predators that Joe Biden was talking about, I don't care about those conditions. I don't care about the fact that some children from the day that they come into this world exist in dysfunction and chaos. I mean, when I tell you chaos, I mean sirens all the time, gunshots, rats and roaches. Crawling on them, biting them in the lip and in the face. I mean, man, you hear some horror stories, man, that these people grew up in. And they become conditioned. Just like some people go to prison and get institutionalized and they come out and they can't get right because they got tainted. I mean, man, it's the human condition. It's human factors. So to dismiss anything anybody said, I'm not going to dismiss anything anybody said because everybody is right. Leonard was right. Jeffrey Dahmer had a problem. Those people going to prison, they're wrong for killing 6 or 7 people. And also the conditions that create a mind that does that is wrong too. And if they could go and try to fix that, the conditions that were created that made heroin addicts and opioid addicts, if they could go and fix that, then prosecute Bush and China for sending them over to Afghanistan for the first place, taking control of all the poppy. The conditions and the cause and effect and the trickle down that came all the way down, and all of a sudden now, the addicts, the drug addicts, what happened to the war on drugs? What happened to locking people up and throwing away the key? Because that's what it sounds like we believe in. You do the crime, you do the time. Damn the conditions. It don't matter where you came from. You might have heard sirens every night. They might have been coming to your house. You might have been in and out, in and out, in and out. You might have went through 30 foster homes. Some people survive. You have exceptions. You have people that actually have a conscience and they have a logical mind. But some people don't get to have a logical mind when they're growing up and learning to survive in chaos and dysfunction. And that is the way that they're going to survive. That means everything they do from this point forward is going to be out of order, even though it might help them survive, like homeless people. I saw somebody the other day gave a homeless man a pair of Jordans, brand new, which that was stupid, but he did it for the clout. He did it because he wanted to show somebody, look, man, look what I did for the homeless man. I gave him some brand new Jordans. Then he went back a few hours later, and the man was walking around. The man was walking around barefoot at first. He bought him some brand new socks and some Jordans. He came back a few hours later. That man was walking around in them socks. Talking about some, it's all right, it's all right. They didn't take them from me. I sold them to him. Think about that. How dysfunctional is that? He would rather walk around in them socks. He didn't care about the shoes.
Yeah.
The socks was good enough. But to the man that gave him the Jordan, the rational thinker, you thinking, Man, you just gave away some Jordans.
Yeah.
Brand new.
Value system.
Thank you.
Value system. That's pretty much what it is, man. And I said this before on here, man. I used to complain about not having any new shoes until I met a man that had no feet. Value system. Badger, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning.
What's on your heart, brother? Talk to me.
Oh man, what's the topic?
We man, look here. We don't circuit the wagon, brother. We don't circuit the wagon. But right now, we're talking about trauma and how trauma could affect a person. And if a person is in a situation whereas they committing a crime, where they commit a crime, do we look at all the elements involved? Do we look at the fact
Oh
that
man.
maybe there's a traumatic situation that happened in their life? Maybe they've been suffering with PTSD or something like that that has never been addressed. Is that a reason or an excuse, or should that be even accounted for when they go to court?
Oh, that's a tough one. I think age should play a factor. Um, you need someone that's non-judgmental to evaluate. Um, because like there's 14, 15, 16-year-olds that smile when they hurt somebody.
Mm.
They're, so there's something up with that. Because as they get adults, they're probably going to continue that same kind of behavior. And it's not that hard to do. All you have to do is get into American politics, and it's about the same thing anyway. But no, like morning.
Oh.
So there's. I'm just gonna lay out all the things that I've been aware of, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's bias, judgment, and hate, either from a religion, from an upbringing, from social media. You know, we have seen in the last 10 years people eating Tide Pads because you have to fit in quotation marks. And if you think about the ideology of fit in, we're supposed to be individual people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Come together with a puzzle piece. Then why
Yeah.
are there so many people out here that are like, oh, it's on TikTok, I must do what they are doing?
Mm-hmm.
I have to get on that social media. I have to get on this Twitch. I have to get on this YouTube video so I can become famous, and I don't have to try to struggle working a minimum wage job that doesn't pay worth a crap. Oh wait, let's not work the minimum wage job. Let's go to college, get in debt, try to pay for a house, not have any kids. Like, unfortunately, my age and older screwed the generations that are coming after me.
Mm.
Everyone wants to be these greedy human beings. Money, 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 money. Now we have a 2-bedroom house that's selling for $400,000. Now we have a jar of mayonnaise or a loaf of bread that's $3 to $5 a loaf when it used to be what, a dollar something.
Mm-hmm.
So while a lot of the older generation is more worried about money, 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 we have a law, the lynch law. I have a huge issue with it. When I actually sat down and read the whole document, I messaged Leonard and I was mad. I'm like, why in the world is lynching, even if it causes murder, only go up to 30 years in prison?
Mm-hmm.
So and the reason I bring that law up is they're like, oh, well, that law's passed. It's okay. And that's it. It's been dropped. Nothing else has been said about it. And I'm sitting there going, that's not enough. Why stop there? That makes no sense for a minimum of 30 years, even if it causes death.
Wow.
For
Mm-hmm.
lynching.
Mm-hmm.
One of a full-blown hate crime.
Mm-hmm.
So it's this mentality and trauma set. Like I've shared with y'all how I grew up. I was taught that poor white people had less privilege than you guys did. That's
Mm-hmm.
literally how I was brought up.
Mm.
So was that traumatizing me? Knowing that if I didn't succeed in school, I would have to watch all of my black friends get these educations that I would never get access to because I was poor and white. How much stress is that putting on a child?
Mm-hmm. Wow. Wow. Toussaint, what's on your heart there, brother?
Yeah, I'm here. I don't know what to say. I look at can you hear me? I look at some diagnoses that people come up with that we didn't have 10 years ago, 15, 20, 30 years ago. And all of a sudden everybody, remember when there was no Ritalin,
Mm-hmm.
there was no, I don't know, what is it, AGC, what ABCDFG? Um,
Lord
people
Jesus.
diagnose things because it's a paycheck behind it,
Mm-hmm.
you know. When we would act up, they just take you to the woodshed and you get tired of get taken to the woodshed. I just say woodshed. But
Mm-hmm.
you know, there was some disciplinary action
Yeah.
taken. Um, it's amazing how some people can be in the same society that we live in, and some fail and some thrive. How is that?
Mm-hmm.
So somewhere along the line, you have to make your own choice in life
Yes.
and rise above,
Mm-hmm.
regardless to the to the critics, the statistics. You just don't want to become a statistic.
Mm-hmm.
So then you don't.
Yeah.
How is that? Somebody said, well, I'm not going to become a statistic, and they don't. And for somebody just uh, because somebody else say that they're going to be this and they're going to be that, and they allow people to speak things in their lives, and they become just that.
Yeah.
Some
Mm-hmm.
people grow up in the hood and don't. When they meet people from time to time, they don't be hoodish, if
Mm-hmm.
that's a word. You don't have to be. I don't. I'm just saying. I know that sometimes it's you become your environment, but you don't have to be.
Yeah.
You know, you
Mm-hmm.
don't have to be. So at some point in life, you just have to say, "I will not." No, despite what you say, I don't have ADC or whatever
Mm-hmm.
ABCDFG. You know, um,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. We look at crime, and I was listening. I went out on your percentage thing, Majig, because it's just a perception
Yeah.
of a person, or
Mm-hmm.
who's controlling the narrative.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
If
sir.
you want to say that it's a racial thing, then it becomes a racial thing. If it's just that person that does the crime, it's that person. It's like Leonard said. If you go out and shoot somebody just because, go to jail. It don't
Mm-hmm.
make no difference whether you're pink or blue or black or yellow. You're a criminal. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
There are some people that stay right down the street from you that are just so happens in the hood and they don't do no crime.
Yeah.
What's up with that?
Mm-hmm. That's good.
So I'll stop right there.
Good deal. Good deal. We're gonna actually transition over. Cause like I said, we could talk about this stuff. You're gonna hear all day long. We can continue, and we have not even got to our topic for the day. But we're about to get to our topic for the day. Willow. Good morning, Willow. How you doing?
Hey,
How you doing this morning?
good morning, Raheem. Good morning, Morglo team. I'm fine.
Okay, we're gonna start the topic off with you this morning. You called right on time, and I want to hear your
Uh,
whole heart. This is the first part. This is the first time we're actually talking about this particular topic, and I want you to tell me something, Willa. How do you explain your tears? How do you explain your tears?
well, at times when I've cried, it's because somebody close to me has uh, made that happen for some reason or another.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go back into my first marriage that I had when I was young. Uh, Explaining why he did it, or how he hurt me, was something that was easy for me to do because I wasn't a person that would cry all the time. I'm a strong person. But when somebody make me cry, I just don't let it go. I tell them why they make me cry. Like
Mm-hmm.
my husband was young, and just like Rico say, it's the environment he came from. He came from an environment of a family of 7 boys. He was the oldest. His father was 54 when he started to have children with his mother, and his mother was in her 30s.
Mm.
So it was no excuse of him hurting me when he committed adultery. Or, he even was a very jealous man, and he would become abusive sometimes.
Mm.
And even when you explain it to him, the apology. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I apologize. It's not gonna happen anymore. But that only lasts for a short time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So even sometimes when you explain your tears to fix a solution, it doesn't always happen.
Wow.
But you have to explain when someone calls you pain to
Mm-hmm.
make you cry.
Wow. That's good. That's good. Great way to open it up. Rico, coming to you, brother. How do you explain your tears?
My tears, if they come out, mean that something touched me somewhere deep. That's
Mm-hmm.
pretty much plain and simple as that. Whether it was a tears of joy, whether it was tears of loss from death, or tears of anger, somewhere something touched me deep down in my soul.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you got that response from me, you got to know that I'm affected somehow. And I'll let you know it's tears of joy, man. I'm so happy, man. I'm shedding tears. Sometimes you can laugh so hard you cry.
Yeah.
I mean, man, look, sometimes, man, I'm dead in my sleep, man, and I'll do something so funny in my dream, I'll wake up laughing. You know what I'm saying? I mean, so I'm in touch with my emotional side. So you got to be in touch with your emotional side. You got to be connected and in tune with yourself to be able to access those tears. Because
Mm-hmm.
some people lose the people that are very close to them, and they don't shed one tear. They hold it together.
Yeah.
But somewhere you like, man, they desensitized.
Mm-hmm.
Well, ain't nothing wrong. You ain't got to cry. Man, listen, that was your mom. That was your twin. That was such and such that just died. And how did you not cry? How did you hold yourself together? Maybe you weren't connected to them the way you should be.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Maybe. So, I mean, like I said, tears come from deep down in your soul, man.
Yeah.
The only thing is that sometimes people wear their soul on their sleeve. I wear my heart on my sleeve.
Mm-hmm.
So you might get them tears. And if you get them, believe me, you don't touch me somewhere. You might be in a good place, or you might be in a bad place.
And see, I'm gonna tell you something. I hope my wife don't mind me doing this. I hope she don't mind me doing this. She'll let me know later. But my wife is the one that she'll hold a lot in. She really will. She'll hold a lot in. It take a lot. But if you ever get her to the point where them tears start flowing, boy, you better move out the way. You better you look here, bruh. You better move. You better move quick, because when she get
Crank up the car.
exactly,
Crank up the car.
exactly.
I mean,
Because
listen, that can become one of them blackout moments,
mm-hmm,
depending
mm-hmm,
on what the situation is.
yeah, Yeah.
You know, and maybe sometimes they cry after they black out. Because they know they went somewhere they didn't mean to go, and they don't know what they just did, but they see the damage. Oh man, I didn't mean to do that. You know, I told you before, it's been times that I had to handle some people, and then I felt bad about what I did. I felt bad that I had to put my hands on this man.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when I did it, I had to do it. Now I feel bad. Now I feel bad. I didn't want to do you like that. You know that you didn't deserve me. But I mean, you know, that comes from being, like I said, in tune, and I guess that's a humane action to be sensitive, to be sensitive to your neighbor. You know, I guess that's, you know, where it comes from, about you loving your brother and appreciating life, being sensitive enough to be able to cry, even or just have emotion, have feeling enough to cry when you need to.
Compassion. It's all about that compassion, brother. That compassion. Let me go to our Badger. Badger, how do you explain your tears, brother?
Happiness, happiness or sad?
Either one. I'm just throwing it out there. However you want to answer it, brother.
Well, first I had to learn that it was acceptable to cry as a man, and get past the toxic teachings of masculinity. And then, you know, sitting there watching the kids play, and I'm having happy tears, and then being happier because I'm fighting and killing the curse of toxic teachings. When my kids are asking, "Why are you crying?" and I'm like, "Because I'm so happy." Because y'all are playing together and having fun and things like that. And they're like, "It's okay to cry like that?" Yes. Yes, it is. And if anyone calls you weak or anything else like that, just sit back and watch them, because in about 10 years, they're going to be probably a very toxic adult that's abusing their children and their wives while you're sitting there having a beautiful, amazing relationship.
Exactly. That's good. That's good. Cassandra, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning.
Cassandra, I need to hear your heart on this, man. How do you explain your tears?
I can't even probably explain mine, because I'm so, when it comes to mainly seeing people hurt or anything. I mean, I just cry when you could just be talking about the injustice or pain of somebody else, and I get emotional. I just love people, and so I sometimes my compassion, overtakes me, and I it's just who I am. I stop trying to explain it. It's the way God made me, and I can't be any different than what He made me and how He made me.
Exactly. That's good. Captain Leonard, you with us?
Yes, sir.
Talk to me, Leonard. How do you explain your tears?
Well, I don't have to explain it to nobody. You know, for whatever reason I'm crying, it's my business. And
it's my party, and I cry if I want to.
I'm not the most emotional person. You know, a lot of people take what I do as being, you know, some people say you just angry or whatever. I could be a contract killer. I'm not really into that emotional side of things. I'm more into, I cry mostly because of joy, mostly. I don't really cry about things that bother me. I work at fixing those things more so than anything. You know, if you're expecting some type of, like, people used to say, "Why you wear shades a lot?" Well, my eyes happen to be sensitive a lot, so it may seem like I cry a lot to some people. But usually it's because my eyes water a lot anyway. But usually when I'm crying, it's because of a joyous thing. It's not usually because of a bad thing.
Okay,
so
that's good.
You know, and I, like I say before, you know, with certain issues, I'm just not very emotional, and because it doesn't work for my character. It really doesn't. I don't get much out of it, you know, so I don't use it as often as some people, man.
Wow, that's good. That's good. Let me go to hold on, I'm trying to fix something here. Y'all bear with me. We just lost. Okay. Well, I was ready to go to Curtis, but we just lost Curtis. So let me go to let me do this right here real quickly. Y'all bear with me for a second. Okay, there we go. You're listening to DKM Media Group and Associates. DKM Media Group and Associates. This is the Morning Glow. We're talking about this morning, and you can certainly be a part of the conversation. Give us a call 508-924-3521. We're talking about how do you explain your tears? How do you explain your tears? Tisha, what do you say today? Good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning, everybody.
Tisha, how?
So I love all your topics, but I like this topic. So how do you explain your tears? So I was raised, of course, my grandma raised me in the church, so it was we always was taught humility, and it wasn't a problem to cry, but even with my grandmother, when I met, my mom's family for the first time, oh man, growing up, like crying was a weakness, you know. Everybody was just afraid to show their emotions. And I remember growing up, and still to this day, I think I heard Rico say, "Man, I cry when I'm happy. Sometimes I have tears of joy. Of course, tears of pain. That's normal. But I've noticed like some tears of pain I can seem to stomach. I'm still trying to semi understand that one a little bit. But one of the biggest ones for me is um, I mourn a lot for other people's energy. And I don't know if anybody else, I mean, I know I can't be the only person like I am in this world, but most of my tears sometimes comes from I can feel when something is about to happen, and it may not be me, but something dreadful is about to happen to someone else or someone around me, and I mourn. I can see other people life from a different standpoint.
Yes.
And I kind of this is where I become selfless, and
Mm-hmm.
that's one of my biggest set of tears. So I don't know.
Wow, that's
Just
good.
something to think about. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Bishop, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning, my brother. I am blessed, man. How are you and everyone else doing?
Hey, doing good, doing good. We asking the question, Bishop. How do you explain your tears, Bishop? How do you explain your tears?
Well, the answers that have been given have been, spot on as it relates to why I would shed a tear. Tears of joy, tears of sorrow, tears of rejoicing, tears of mourning. Crazy thing about it, most of my mourning tears are not at deaths, but they're at weddings. And I know that sounds funny. And the reason I say that, man, because when you say I do this to a man or to a woman, you don't realize what you're saying, because after all the reveling and joyous of that particular day and moment, then you got to live with them. And then that's when you begin to find out, man, what the heck have I done? And that's why most times when you catch me really crying at a wedding, they're like, crying, you have to go. I said, no, they don't know what they're doing. They have no idea. Everything is joyous today, but tears are they're characterized through whatever we're dealing with at that particular moment. So, that's my answer.
Okay, good deal. And that's a good answer. Definitely appreciate that. But I got to go to this fellow right here, and ain't no telling what we're about to get, y'all. But Toussaint, how do you explain your tears, sir?
I probably.
I probably laugh through them. Yeah, I do it all the time.
You actually.
Because every once in a while I run out. I probably do run. I haven't run completely out because every once in a while they come back. But I actually have no explanation for them because it is what it is. What I thought about when you said that is you ever saw a person kind of laugh and cry at the same time, and what comes out of their mouth is say, "Leave me alone now." I told you. And they just laughing, and but the tears are falling out. That's a dangerous person. They probably couldn't hurt you.
Yeah.
But tears come for different ways. Sometimes we laugh You ever heard the expression "laugh to keep from crying"?
Yes, sir.
I do a lot. I do a lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
Really, actually, really do. But when I think about um, all the things that has happened and how things are turning out now in I call them Bishop. I call them my latter days. It
Mm-hmm.
just tickles me.
Yes, sir.
I just laugh
Mm-hmm.
because pain and suffering, as we grow up and we come up, if we find out that it's just temporary,
Mm-hmm.
it actually is. And then when you really start understanding life to a certain extent and figure out, hey, I just am grateful to be alive,
Mm-hmm. Come on.
thankful for everything that is happening now, even when it's bad, because it's going to work out too.
Yes, sir.
Sometimes that causes tears to fall,
Mm-hmm.
but they're not tears of sadness. It's again, tears of joy. So it's different reasons.
Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good. 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Give us a call. We'd love to have your input. We're talking right now about how do you explain your tears? How do you explain your tears? Now, my sister done snuck in on me. I ain't even know she was here. Toya with a T. Good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning. Good morning. How y'all
Look at
doing?
done snuck in on me. I ain't even see her when she came. Done snuck in on me. But I gotta ask you the question, Toya. How do you explain your tears?
My fear?
Your tears.
You said fear, like Fear?
No, Tears. Tears. Crying.
Oh, it take a lot for me to cry. Hell, oh, excuse me. I don't know. What? I mean, okay, Resurrection Sunday, I cried about Jesus, but about this world, I'm one of the people I cry when I'm mad
Mm-hmm.
and I'm angry. I don't. My father built me so Chevy tough. It takes a lot to make me cry. I'm very sensitive, but I know how to eat a lot. I know how to take a lot. So it's hard to explain my tears to most people because most people don't understand the world from an intimate level like I do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? Every time I go to church, I think about the fruits of the spirit, and that's what I do. I love people. I love being gentle, I love being kind, I love being all that. But if it's something that you don't like, you ain't gonna make me cry. Less work I got to do. What you saying? Same thing with a boyfriend. You think I'm gonna cry because you want to leave me? Boy, bye. Less work I got to do, honey. And when she come get you, tell her I'm gonna pay her $20 to take you on about your business. So my tears, I don't process them like most people, but I understand.
Yeah.
It can be a lot. I'm going through a lot right now, and I feel like I should be crying. I just got into another accident. Things going on with the job. Things going on with the crib. But I know it's the devil, so it don't even faze me no more.
Mm-hmm.
They like hurdles now. Like I just eat them up. I'm not gonna cry devil because I already know it's you with a distraction, right? So for me, like someone said a few minutes ago, now in my latter years, I don't let nothing move me because I know what me and God got going on, and I expect the devil to throw everything my way and even drop boulders on me, but I'm not gonna cry.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really hard for me in this day and age to express my tears. Now, 10 years ago, of course, maybe drinking, maybe smoking, maybe even fornicated activities, right? Because I was young, I was hurt, I didn't know how to express it. And then sometimes coming from a black family, it's like you train to respect everybody. You can't say anything back. Respect the elder. It's just so much. Like you don't feel like you have a voice for a while. You don't feel like you can stand up for yourself at some point in life, especially when you're younger, coming from some of our cultures. Like you just can't, you can't fight for yourself.
Yeah.
And I think when I was in that way was why my tears came out in negative ways. But now I know the truth. Lord, what you say? Oh, you gonna fight my battles? Okay, thank you. And I'm gonna go on about my business because I'm not gonna use no energy on something that the Lord gonna handle.
Exactly. That's good. That's good. Now watch this, y'all. Cassandra.
Yes, sir.
Now, I know Cassandra. Now, I know you, Cassandra, and I know you could be how they say a cream puff sometime. And then what they say cream puff with somebody. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Cassandra, how do you explain your tears if you sitting there in front of that doggone TV looking at a movie and you start crying? How you gonna explain that, Cassandra? Cause you'll do that in a
I
minute now.
can't. I will, and I can't explain it. I'm an empath. I know that. A lot of people. The young lady that spoke about crying for other people. That's a part of being empath. We feel uh, the hurt or pain of other people, and sometimes it can be overwhelming. I feel like it's a spiritual. I not feel like I know for me it's a spiritual thing.
Mm-hmm.
I feel for people. I love people so much that that's just a part of my DNA. That's how God made me. And
Mm-hmm.
that's why I fight so hard for people. And that's why I get so angry when I see people hurt. Even if it's on television, it's like, okay, Mannix got beat up, for because he was trying to help somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Things like that will make me cry. And
Wow.
that's just, and I used to like go like, what is wrong with you? It's not even real. But just the idea of somebody being hurt
Mm-hmm.
hurts me.
Mm-hmm.
Hurts
Wow.
me. I can't explain it any different than that. It hurts me.
Mm-hmm. Rico, what do you say to that, man? You and your boys sitting around, man. Y'all got your girls there, man. Y'all having a movie night, and y'all looking at a movie together. And the movie get to a point where it's a little sad. The movie's a little sad, and you look over at one of your boys, man, and the girls are already crying. Look over one of your boys, man, and what? How you deal with that, Rico?
I might laugh. I might laugh, but I'm gonna understand that he relates. Now I might not understand how he relates to whatever they're crying about at that point in time, but understandably he has to relate. He has to understand how that feels.
Mm-hmm.
And see, I'm just like what's it like Tessa and Cassandra. I'm the same way, man. I mean, it's like I can hear some people's situation, and as they're telling me, I feel like I'm in their shoes. So when they're supposed to, when the things that make them cry, I can understand why they cry. So it's like I think I'm like Cassandra, man. I think it's spiritual, man. That's what lets me know too that there's something bigger than me and you, because this is nothing that I try to do.
Mm-hmm.
But to relate to a person when they're coming telling you what they're going through, or to relate to a situation that you see that's going on, it's really hard to not relate.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm an empath too, But it cracked me up what Donald said about smiling and crying at the same time.
Yeah.
Because what can happen is you can walk on stage at the Oscars and slap the pee out somebody. You know what I'm saying? When you smile.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? And then I was listening to what Toya was saying about some of the things that she did as she stopped crying. And that's sometimes it goes back to what we were speaking about previously, conditions.
Yep.
Some of these conditions and some of the actions that we see on behalf of people are tears. They just don't come out this way anymore. But they're built up in them, and now they're acting out.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, that this is a deep topic right here, because we have physical tears.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't actually let some of those tears out, sometimes you become frustrated. Then you might need therapy.
Yeah, exactly.
Then you may turn into a sociopath. Then you may turn into something emotionally broken. You can become desensitized to a point where you do walk past people that need help. I don't care. Let me pull out my camera and record. Let me see if I can get me 100 or 1 million views.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know what? You better learn how to swim.
Better learn real quick. Well, this way. You wasn't quick enough. You wasn't. That commercial. You wasn't quick enough. Got to be
almost got it. Almost got it.
Yes. Yes, sir. Well, spiritual tears. How would you explain spiritual tears? If your spirit is crying, come on, Willa.
Yeah, that's when the spirit is really high. Raheem, sometimes after I pray, I cry.
Yes.
I don't understand sometimes why, but I just believe the spirit touches the spirit, the heart touches the heart. It's just like Cassandra said, it's a spiritual thing. Sometimes, like when you cry, with like in church sometimes, inspirational sermon, a life changing sermon, and somebody come up and give their life to Christ.
Mm-hmm.
I cry sometimes.
Yes, yes.
You know, so yeah, it is. It's a spiritual. It could become spiritual as well when you cry. Like
Mm-hmm.
I said, now when I pray sometimes, man, I just boo hoo and don't know why.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's good though.
I
That's good.
don't know why,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And don't see more people don't understand. Those are tears of joy. Those are joyful tears, and it may very well be washing something away. It could very well be washing something away. I don't know what it is, or that's just me thinking out loud. Leonard, what do you say to that, brother? On spiritual tears.
Definitely, because that's where it comes from.
Come on, Leonard. Come on, Leonard.
That's where crying comes from.
Mm-hmm.
It comes from your spirit. And those things that move your spirit may bring tears to your
Mm-hmm.
eyes. And you know, I compare it to um just we used to sing this song in church. Whatever it is, it won't let me hold my peace.
Mm.
And then therefore you would cry about it. You really couldn't put your finger on it. But that's dealing with the Holy Spirit. And then you add your humanity to that. There is a thing in you that makes you human, and that thing is sympathy for other human beings.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is that makes you human. It's sympathy for other human beings.
Yes,
You
sir.
have the ability to feel that. And then you also have the ability to act on that. You know, if you really care, what are you doing? Like, say for instance, if like Miss Cassandra, she is very much into what she feel is her calling and reaching out and helping people.
Mm-hmm.
That's what she's doing with that concern.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people cry for so many different reasons. You never know why they're crying. But like my pastor said, there's a joy cry. You cry from joy.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, especially with believers, that's something you should keep to yourself. Joy. You know, don't give that joy to nobody else. Beware of people trying to come and steal your joy.
Come on, come on, come on.
That's a spirit thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Your
Mm-hmm.
spirit moves you to laugh. Your spirit moves you to cry. Your spirit moves you to have these types of emotions.
Mm-hmm.
So when people used to say men shouldn't cry or blah blah, so what should they do? What should they do then? Because they're
Mm-hmm.
going to cry.
Yeah, yeah.
You're going to cry.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I know some people. You know, if they hurt, they cry. Physically, if they hurt, they cry.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, some people scream. Some people holler out. So it just depends on a particular person.
I know I've been.
You know, it just depends on the particular person. You never know why
Mm-hmm.
a person would be crying. I don't believe it should have to be justified. You know, it didn't matter to me if you were a boy or a girl if you were crying. If you were crying, why were
Mm-hmm.
you crying? What made you cry? You
Yeah.
know,
What hurt
I am very much in the with that one. Now you don't be falling to pieces around me every time something happens. You're
you?
unreliable.
Mhm. Wow, that's good. That's good, Bishop. I don't know why I'm led here, man, to ask you this question, but what happens when grandmama cry?
Everybody gets concerned.
Mm-hmm.
She crying, so we got to rally around, find out what's going on, and make sure that she is okay. And she
Mm-hmm.
was easily say, I'm fine. And that question is one that I dealt with my grandmother.
Me too.
And she'd get into some kind of little spirit.
Mm-hmm.
She's listening to music, or she's thinking about her children, her husband, whatever the case may be. But we don't want grandmama to cry.
No,
We rather
no.
see her with a smile on her face and laughing, as opposed to tears being shed.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna tell you
Anybody
something.
that
I'm
has a good relationship with their grandmother, they can relate to where I'm coming from.
absolutely.
I had a wonderful grandmother. I had two of
Mm-hmm.
them.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's it. But Leonard said something, man, and I really appreciate his comments. If I'm crying, nobody can tell me what to cry for, or don't try to, emasculate me because I am crying.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has these things called tear ducts, and everybody should have emotions, should have
Yeah.
a heart.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of things should concern them. And my father taught us growing up it's okay to cry.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I saw him cry many times, and it didn't take anything away from him being a man.
Mm-hmm.
So, to me, to each his own, but I think it's a silly concept to think men are not supposed to cry.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think it's silly.
Exactly. That's good. That's good. And I'm just like you, man. My grandmother actually raised me, man, and so that was my world right there, brother. And I walked in one day, and she was crying, and that man, that's heartbreaking for me to see her. That breaks my heart, man. That you could stick your hand in your chest and pull my heart out and throw it on the floor to see my grandmother cry, man. And I said, Mama, and I called her Mama. I said, Mama, what's wrong? And she pulled me close to her, man, and pulled me close, and she pat me on the head. She said, everything's okay, baby. Everything's okay. I was like, wow, man. Rico, go ahead, brother. I gotta leave this one alone right here.
I'm like you on that one, man. The first time I saw her cry, man, it sent me into a spin because it made me mad, at death even more then, because that was my first time really seeing her cry. Other than that, other times I seen her just be strong, man. But she was the one that actually told me it was okay to cry.
Mm-hmm.
Because I would hold so much in and I would bottle it up. And one day she was talking to me and I would just hyperventilate, huffing and puffing, mad.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Let it out. Let it out. And so I let it out and I cried, man, and I don't know what was being said. I had it on mute, man. I got a phone call from an attorney. So, I had to take that because I thought it was some good news for me. But it wasn't good news for me. They looking for my baby mama too. She on the run, boy. She's so serious. She on the run. Yeah, I mean, it's sad and pitiful, but I ain't gonna cry about it, man. You know what I'm saying? Because I've been trying to find her too. I got to go back to something Bishop said earlier, because like I said, I've been off. But when Bishop said that about crying at the wedding, it's like I don't want to call it a double-edged sword, but that is true because I do the same thing. You know what I'm saying? I cry for two reasons. And it's almost like a beautiful sacrifice. I mean, I look at it and I think about how beautiful the situation is and how the fact that they're coming together as one, how beautiful that they found that love together. You know what I'm saying? And so that, it's almost like hey man, that's a good thing. That's a good emotion. But then at the same time, I start thinking about the fact that, man, they got to deal with each other for the rest of their lives, man. And then you wonder if they're gonna survive. You just be looking like, man, I hope they make it. So I'm like Bishop on that, man. When I go to weddings, man, you know what I'm saying? A lot of times people be thinking that, they thinking that you're just looking at it and idolizing the situation. And really and truly, I'm looking at it and just wondering, man, I hope this thing lasts. I wonder if they're gonna be able to actually communicate for the rest of their lives together. I mean, it looks good and it sounds good. The idea of being married, it sounds good. But then when you actually get into it, if you don't have the right perception or the right understanding of what it takes or what a marriage is supposed to be about, man, you're gonna end up with a lot of tears, a lot of pain and heartache. You're like Cassandra said, I think it was Willow, you'll end up with somebody that hits on you and ignores your tears, and then you soon start ignoring your own tears because you listening to their excuses.
Wow. That's good. Let me see. We got so many different directions. Quite a few people I hadn't touched in a minute. Dusan, what's on your heart, brother?
Now, you asked the question, and I think about there are some things that when you think, when it gets to the point that it's really spiritual, you think about there are some things. Hope y'all hear me. There are some things that I can't do. That are being manifested, worked out in my life, and it brings me to a tear because I know it was him and not me.
Come on.
I share something with you right quick. A year and a few months ago, I lost the youngest grandchild. Do you remember that?
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
And you know how you say all things work together for the good. Well, I was upset, really, and you understand that.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Absolutely.
had to have a talk. God, well, wait a minute. You said all things work together for the good. Now, how you gonna get the good out of this? I don't know. It's impossible. Um, but my son called me last week, and there was one of the twins that passed, and he said, "Daddy, I got 3 boys coming."
Mm.
So there are some things that while we're trying to figure it out, God has a better plan or a different plan for our lives. And I look at all of the things that I talked about, how much I've lost along the way, or disappointments along the way.
Mm-hmm.
And I look at now how God is flipping that thing around so quick till it's blowing my mind.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And
So
there
he's having the triplets.
are
Yes.
Wow, wow, wow.
there are some things that he is working on if we just trust him. And
Mm-hmm.
so when you think about to the point where it makes you want to cry, it's not a sadness, it's a rejoicing because I can't do it. I
Mm-hmm.
can't heal, set free, deliver. I can't do the exceedingly abundantly above all I can ask or think. But when I think about it and asking God, work this out.
Come
I
on.
don't know how you will,
Mm-hmm.
but you will.
Yes,
And
sir.
when he start doing it, 2 winds up being 3.
Mm-hmm.
Now you run tell that.
Mm-hmm. Now, see how I ended the thing. Now you run and go tell that. That's how I ended that comment. You run and go tell that. Badger, what's on your heart, brother?
Talking about spiritual tears, yeah?
Yes, sir.
Love and fear.
Mm-hmm.
The tears would come from one of those two. No fear. It just it's wild to me. I don't have a lot to say on this topic because to me, we either cry because we've learned that it's acceptable, or we don't due to either trauma or the rare occasion we're just designed that way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, coming from someone like me, you know, I get judged a lot. I wouldn't say, I might be using that word wrong. Is I don't cry like most normal people do.
Mm-hmm.
It hurts me in certain situations, but my emotions work a little different. And anyone that's ever really been around someone on the autism spectrum knows that sometimes our emotions can be a little weird, or the way we react to a certain situation like death or life or things like that. We might seem like we're just neutral or non-human like. Um, so we respond to things very differently. Um, so there's a lot in this conversation that, to me, crying is crying. If you don't cry, you don't cry, but you can't sit there and think that a person is a certain way just because they don't either.
Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good. Pour you with a tea. Talk to me, sis. How do you explain your tears?
Yeah, y'all were talking about a spiritual perspective,
Yes.
and I think that's probably the most I cried, right? When God
Mm-hmm.
started dealing with me. Because I had already sinned so much and had been so hard. A tear, what that is, I don't know what that is. But when God started to really deal with me, it was like I would feel the sorrows of others. I remember walking into church and just feeling sorrow. And I couldn't do nothing but cry. But I remember feeling like it was the only way that these people were going to get out their cry. And, I've been through some weird instances dealing with God on a whole nother level to where everything else is obsolete. But I understand that I was being used as a vessel because, like, Cassandra, I think it was saying earlier about being empaths. And sometimes we don't understand all of that and how we feel things. But I know that's what God does. And it made me think about the story of Jesus. I've always cried at the thought of that story. Just the fact of that whole, even when I didn't know him the way I do now, I still bawled in tears when it came to that specific story. So when I would walk into church and would cry and just sob, like somebody else said earlier, I don't even know why. But I knew that it was a cleansing, even if it wasn't for myself. You know, so sometimes when it comes to tears, God owns all of me, even my tears.
Yes.
And if he push them out, it ain't nothing I can do about it. If he uses me because maybe someone else needs to get it out, you know, I don't know. Because as miraculous as he is with just my body, I can't make assumptions on the things that he uses me for and what they actually do in the spirit.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
That's good.
But from a spirit level, I know that when he puts us in situations and when we cry, I feel like it's the same thing that Jesus was doing on the cross. When he was screaming out, hollering out, paying the price for our sins. And I think when we cross over that threshold of dealing with God and we walk into his house at times, or, you know, for us empaths that go and get around people, maybe they don't know how to cry. That's why they are on drugs. They don't know how to cry. That's why they are trapped in whatever sin it is. Because we're taught, right? Some people boys, you don't cry. Right? You can fall on your head, scrape your knee all the way up to the bone, and we still expect boys or men or males not to cry.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But who else, you know, is taught like this? I'm quite sure some of you guys taught your daughters, don't you let nobody see you cry. If your husband hurt you, won't you let him see you cry? Is that not that what? You don't let them see you hurt? You know what I mean? So this world has it so twisted. But again, when you're dealing with that spiritual side on them tears, right? God is using them for a reason. So, you know, let them do what they do because it's real.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Bishop, is there a healing in tears? Is there a healing in tears?
What you say?
Is there a healing? Is there a healing power in tears?
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. You're releasing whatever is built up in you, and you know, primarily over the tears. You shed tears because you lose someone. You shed tears, particularly when you getting your little tail whooped by your parents doing something wrong. But as you get through crying, and then there is this atmosphere within your mind mentally to say, okay, you know what, I'm all right. I'm gonna be all right. And maybe it take a day or two or three to be in that mindset. But the scripture says this, and I can't, you know, dispute it. It says weeping endures for a night. That means for a time period. But when you realize joy comes in the morning, and if I can go back to when I was a child, 14, I did something that for me it was okay. I didn't think anything about it. But when my parents got home and they didn't know where I was and, you know, my whereabouts, they got very concerned, so they whooped me. I thought it was terrible that I got a whooping. But after a while, I realized, man, they whooped me because they were concerned about my well-being. However, I could have gotten killed at the place I was, and they wouldn't have had any idea. So now I'm healed because I understand next time you do something, let somebody know where you are. That way you're covered, and then the concern or worry won't be as intense.
Exactly.
So yeah, there is healing through tears. There is healing.
Good deal. Good deal. Tisha, what's on your heart?
So just basically, I guess we're on spiritual tears, and I think when I hopped in at first, I was saying that most of my tears are from mourning from other people. And I think the most time that I do cry is when I'm engaging with Christ. And that is just something that came from him. So I've learned to appreciate it. I mean, when I pray, I cry, you know. Of course, you're praying for something, and then I'm praying because I know that it's going to be answered. I pray when I'm worshiping him in the mix. And it's just so sentimental to me when I'm engaging with him that sometimes my crying is just uncontrollably, can't stop. So, I watch myself cry from spiritually from being sad, and then I watch it just transpire into joy. And those really are the majority of my tears. I mean, anything else earthly, um, man, sometimes that stuff don't even phase me. It's like really, really hard to get someone to get me to cry about the world because I think about God, they don't be conformed to the world. So it's just like to me, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But then when it comes to spirituality, oh man, I'm going boo-hoo crying,
Mm-hmm.
uplifting somebody, letting somebody know that God is there for you. He's been there for me. Here's where he pulled me out. I remember when I was stuck in my ways and he used to always just pull me out. He just always seemed to give me that grace and that mercy. And I just
Mm-hmm.
could not understand like why. Like what is so special about me? Boom, here come the tears. Here come the
Mm-hmm.
tears. So
Mm-hmm.
I just like that everybody is just on this spiritual tear thing because it came from him.
Yes. Yes.
And I tell people it doesn't have to be of harm, of mourning, of sadness. Like I hear a lot of people talking about tears of joy. That is one of my best ones. I could just be crying and I'm just happy. I'm
Mm-hmm.
thankful. I'm gracious. So
Mm-hmm. That's
yeah.
good. That's good. That's good. Leonard, talk to me, brother. Tears. Can it be, or has it ever been a form of release?
It always is. It always is. Why
Mm-hmm.
keep things bottled up inside?
Mm-hmm.
You know, sometimes people get caught up in trying to please others too much or what have you. And, they let that inform them on how they going to respond and all this type of thing. But, like, say, for instance, with grieving, people have to grieve.
Mm-hmm.
And you should allow them to grieve. You shouldn't make them feel bad for grieving or things like that. It's things that it's their feelings, so they're going to react the way they react to certain things. I remember it was this thing where women just cry all the time.
Mm-hmm.
They cry about everything all the time. But if you notice, that picture is not there anymore.
Yeah.
People don't really paint that picture anymore because one, for some reason, I believe it had a negative stereotype with it, or did women just stop crying about everything?
Mm.
And I remember when I used to tell my grandma, well, then she said this and she started crying. You know what my grandmother said about women and crying? The more they cry, the less they pee.
Okay. We're gonna leave that one. We're gonna leave that one right there. We're gonna go to the ladies now. Cassandra, then Willa coming to you next. Cassandra, what's on your heart?
Yeah, I was thinking about, as a child, I was emotionally and physically uh, abused a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when I would get whippings, and I'm talking, I would get whippings that were like crazy. So
Mm-hmm.
to me, they were abuse more than discipline. And I would be determined not to cry. I
Wow.
would make up an no matter how many times that electric cord would hit my body, I
Mm.
was not going to cry because it's like it gave me, I don't know, in my head, it gave me like, no, you're not going to break me. And I feel like that is what the enemy was trying to use this person to break me, and she would keep hitting me. She would keep hitting me. Oh, you're not gonna cry, and I would just. I mean, it would be hurting so
Mm.
bad, y'all. But I would not let a tear come out of my eyes. And she said, "I'm gonna beat you until you cry." And then maybe after the 11th or 12th hit, some tears would start dropping out of my eyes, and then she would stop hitting me.
Mm.
And that was like a defense mechanism for me, and it was horrible. It was horrible, and it made me hard and mean, and that's why I fought so much, because that was like my release. And when I got angry with you, when you did see me drop a tear, you knew it was time for you to run. My
Mm.
siblings knew that if I drop a tear, it's time for everybody to clear the
Yeah.
clear the
Yeah.
place.
Exactly.
So I feel like tears for me, it was a means of survival at
Mm-hmm.
times. But then when God came in, He took all of those tears, and He flipped it where now I feel for other people in a way that a lot of people don't understand. And it's a gift. I don't see it as a curse. I see it as a gift
Mm-hmm.
because I held mine for so many years.
Wow.
Now I
Wow.
can release when it comes to other people's pain.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Wow. Willa and Rico, coming to you next. Willa, what's on your heart?
I remember the story back when my grandmother had passed away, my mother's mother. And I was at the sink washing dishes, and my mother kept me in, and I'm just boo-booing, I'm just crying. And she looked at me and she said, "Girl, you gotta get it together."
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at her, that was her mama, and she wasn't crying, but here I am just boo-hooing. And when she said, "Girl, you better get it together," I got it together. And that's something that I just remember. You know, I started laughing because my cousin's in the car with me now. But I started laughing because that was something that I grew up with. You know, sometimes when I cry and I can hear my mother's voice say, "Girl, you better get it together." And that was on my heart right there.
Wow, that's good. That's good. Rico, talk to me, brother.
Yeah, those that's funny that she brought that up because I was thinking about what clicked in me. I'm gonna say what sort of broke me to the point to where I stopped crying and I started fighting back. But then at the same time, it sort of made me a violent person. And it's sort of like what Cassandra's situation was. You know, that final extreme piece of abuse from my stepfather. You know, I didn't just take it and cry, but I actually tried to get back and get up and fight back. At 10 years old, I couldn't do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't do nothing with him, man. But I tried. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you know, I tried to the point to where the last time he knocked me down, I couldn't get back up no more.
Mm-hmm.
But then the beer that was poured on top of me, you know what I'm saying? That's when I cried then. But I wasn't crying no more because I felt sorry for myself. I cried then because I said, you know what? When I get big, I'm gonna kill this MF.
Mm-hmm.
So it was another monster that was woke awakened then that made those tears what Donna was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
You know, that before then I probably had spurts or, you know, different outbursts of tears of anger, but not like that to the point where I was like, okay, life is expendable.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so that it sort of threw me out of whack because my middle ground is sort of gone now. It's like I'm extremely this way or extremely the other way.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand how people can become desensitized to that extreme once, you know, depending on how their environment is. But, you know, that is one of the things that I relied on, you know, actually when I do get in a situation where the tears feel like they want to come, it's like, get yourself together.
Yeah.
Even, don't get me wrong, even sometimes when they're good tears, because sometimes people can give me some appreciation. They can come back and acknowledge me and say, man, you know what, man, you're a good dude. And then they just start running off all the things that I do. And before you know it,
mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
I got to I'm rinsing pollen out my eye. But at the same time, I'm thinking about the crocodile tears too, though. I mean, how do you explain those? I mean, I think about actors and how mental and emotionally in touch with themselves they have to be able to be to cry on the drop of a dime.
Mm-hmm.
Just when you ask them, you know, where do they have to take themselves? What do they have to relate to make themselves actually get emotionally in that place where they can let the tears flow according to whatever emotion or whatever reaction they want to get, the amount of tears they want to get. I mean, so that really goes to show you how much of an emotional thing it is. The actors will show you that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Toussaint, what's on your heart, brother?
I'm still thinking about, you know, I'm chewing chips. You caught me chewing chips.
Man, spit them chips out and talk, man.
No, I ain't gonna spit them out now. I ain't gonna do that. But
She said, I ain't gonna do that now.
I heard Leonard say something about the soul is where, or the inner man, or spirituality is where the tears come from.
Mm-hmm.
If you ever want to see where a man is, see his tears.
Mm-hmm.
Let him explain what makes him cry. In the inner part of his emotions.
Yeah.
How he really feels about stuff. You can laugh it out. And that's what we do most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
We tough it out. And, we stand up and, be a strong person. It don't have to be a man. It's just a person.
Yeah.
We learn to be tough. Like somebody said, I think Will said, stop that crying. I remember when, I think it was either my dad or my brother passed. And we were all sitting there. And all of a sudden, my baby sister, bust out tears. And my oldest brother say, sit down.
Mm-hmm.
And she shut up right then and there. Because among our family, just us now, because mom and dad is gone, the old two brothers and sisters, they say, is what goes.
Mm-hmm.
And so the thing about what he was saying is, by this time, you should know where our mom, dad, sister, brother is heading after life.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about this hope that we have in the dead in Christ rise first, and those remain the blessed when this happened. We talk that, but when it happens, we fall apart.
Mm-hmm.
Like
exactly.
we don't trust what we say.
Mm-hmm.
So when they was trying to figure out why in the world were me and my brother high-fiving each other at the funeral.
Mm.
Because the thing is, if there is no resurrection, we just talked about it Sunday. If there is no resurrection, then we are miserable people.
Mm-hmm.
But because there is, we shut down our emotions. Sure, we tear up, sure enough. But the hope that comes in what I was saying earlier, there are some things that I can't do, but I know he can.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And all through my mess, and all through our lives, we go through so much.
Yes.
But then when we leave this place and finally make it home, that's what it's all about.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Public citizen, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning. Pretty good. Yeah, it's an interesting topic. I was just thinking about this topic a few days ago. Because, some other people, I didn't hear all the comments, but I heard a few other people comment and say that, like, men particularly, we have a hard time with explaining our emotions and dealing with our emotions. And, we're socialized that way. Like, we're taught that it's weak. And you can see why that exists, because the world is a cold and mean place a lot of times. So you can't walk around with your emotions exposed because people are going to stab you at your weakest point. Even your closest friends and family members. So life is hard, and so we build a shell around ourselves, protect ourselves. But my example is a couple weeks ago. Well, I have in my class, I have kids who are refugees. I have an Afghani refugee. I have a Ukrainian refugee. I've had refugees from all over the world in my career. And, a lot of times they have trauma. And, you can see it, the way they act in class and the way they act at school. They act out and they have problems. So I was reading a book because I was like, okay, guys, we're going to do a report on different countries. And so, okay, what country do you want to do? What country do I do? Okay, so I said, let's do this Afghani girl. So, okay, let's find a book about on Afghanistan. And I said, all right, you need to find some nonfiction books and fiction books. So I found a fiction book, and it was about, and it was about a refugee. And it was like in the middle of it, I'm like, oh man, please don't cry. In the middle of it, and I'm emotional just thinking about it now. And it's like, how do you explain it? So I think for me, when there's like a hard situation like that, I have to just talk about it. I have to tell my students, like I just tell them how I'm feeling. Like, and that's hard. That's really hard to because you're exposing yourself.
Yeah.
And then like yesterday, we're learning about cancer, and so I thought a book about cancer. And I'm like in the middle of it, I'm like, God, I hope this dog doesn't die because the dog had cancer. And just the fact of me saying that was like a relief. I could feel it in the class. I could feel the relief. Like all of the kids in my class are like, they're like, God, me too. I hope this dog doesn't die. So just the fact that we're able to talk about it, I think helps a lot.
Yes. The heart hurts in so many different ways, man. The heart is a very the heart is very unique in so many different ways, man. Leonard, talk to me, brother.
I think that's what a lot of people are. One thing I like the comparisons about Christianity, what Donald was talking about. And my father died when I was very young. And one thing about his death that I remember more than anything is knowing. And so it was kind of like, he had run out of time. But he had fully accepted that it was time to move on. So I had to accept that as well. It's like with my mother's death. If she could accept it, so can I. So it's not so much as, yes, do I miss them? Of course, every day. But there is a balance that you must seek. I think that is the biggest difference in how people handle that. Now, there's some people, they falling all out and doing all this, that, and the other, or whatever. But if that's the way they grieve, that's the way they grieve. I don't understand it. It don't even matter that I do understand it. I accept it. That's them. They behave like that at every funeral. And especially when you have such an old family like mine. People die die a lot because they're so much older. It's like my aunt that died here recently. I remember when my mother actually put her in that home, in that hospital. And then I believe she's been there over 10 years or so. And so I was so surprised to even see her at my mother's funeral. And now here she is. She has passed away. And so, you have to think about it. If you know where somebody's going, what's the issue? Like the Buddhists believe in reincarnation and things of that nature, and life being such a cycle. And that if we learn different ways of dealing with the life, then the death is not as big a problem. If you learn how to deal with the life of the matter. If a person is suffering, why would you want them to remain alive? If a person who's told you all their life, I'm just getting ready to go and see the King. I'm just ready to go see the Lord. I'm ready now. Is when they get their wish, why sad? Get over the sadness of not seeing them anymore and things like that. I can choose to have a nervous breakdown every day at noon if I wanted to, related to my mother. But I wouldn't do that because that's not what she would approve of either.
Exactly.
So we have to learn, ways. There's a way to deal with grief. That's why we have grief counseling. Now, if you notice, a lot of funeral homes offer grief counseling. And churches, they offer grief counseling as well because that's a different type of emotion. And some people have other issues with that. And I'm just glad, like I heard the other young lady saying, I don't know what it is. I know I'm not that special. I don't have a whole lot of material things and things like that, but I still have my confidence and my courage. I still have the ability to do so many other things that I don't allow my weaknesses to determine who I am as a person.
That's good. That's good. Rico? I just called on Rico and he blotted the screen on me. Okay, let me go to Cassandra. Cassandra, what's on your heart?
This is this has been a great topic, and I think topics like this are needed because we need to understand, something as basic as tears.
Mm-hmm.
Why do we cry? Why do I feel something about this? Whether it's for a bad reason or a good reason, we need to understand why our I want to say emotions, which a lot of times come from our spirit.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't understand that. That's a whole nother topic for another day. But we need to understand, that people are different when it comes to why
Mm-hmm.
they express through tears.
Absolutely. Rico?
Yeah, Cassandra pretty much said it all, man. I mean, this experience we call life is unique. It's our very own experience, and the people we encounter, their experience is very different too. I'm like Leonard. I can understand. I can relate. I don't really question, but at the same time, when I see different things happen, I understand why they're happening like that. When I see people break down or get extremely emotional, when over somebody that passed away 10 or 12 years ago, then I know that they had a deeper dependence on that person that left.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe during this experience, that was the only person that they had a connection with, or the only person that they could trust.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like I said, this experience is something else. Sometimes we speak from certain perspectives, not understanding that we are sharing a space with people that experience sirens every night. Like I said, chaos every night, abuse every night, extreme abuse.
Mm-hmm.
In different forms, mental, physical, sexual, things that we can never comprehend. And the way they show their emotions might be totally different. Like Badger said with his autism.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody might misperceive his lack of emotion as being insensitive.
Mm-hmm.
Which really and truly is not that he's insensitive. He just shows his emotion a different way towards different things.
Yeah.
But we all human beings, man. We're not built the same, but at the same time, we're sharing an experience.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. That's good. Public citizen, you okay over there?
What's that?
Actually,
Yeah. Let's see. I don't know if I have any other comments. I guess. Yeah. Emotions are complex, and we all have the same capabilities of experiencing emotions, but like Rico said, we have different experiences. So people have different triggers and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So empathy. That's all. That's it. Love, empathy.
Mm-hmm.
That's the answer.
Absolutely. Rico, what's going on at 3:00 today, sir?
I think we left a word out too, sympathizing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we use that a whole lot during this conversation, but a lot of times with those tears, there has to be some sympathy, and then sometimes people know how to pull up those tears to get sympathy.
Mm-hmm.
But that is another way to explain it. If you missed today's broadcast and would like to see the rebroadcast in its entirety, you can tune in at www.dkmmediagroup.com at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
And don't forget this Friday. We're having a prayer breakthrough. This Friday from 9:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. 9:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to 12. We're gonna go to 12 midnight Eastern Standard Time. We're praying for peace. So make sure if you can, make yourself available. Call in, tune in, join in. We'd love to have you all here. Rico, what's
man,
wrong?
You be piling all kind of stuff up on us, man. What about our Saturday saves, man? I done had a couple of Saturday saves and Tuesday and Thursday saves, and you said nothing else about the Saturday saves.
No, you boys go to the site and put it on there on the Facebook page. Post right in there.
Okay. I'm gonna have to go on now, man. I went to thinking about it last night, man. I was like, well, I said, what happened to the Saturday saving thing? I did a couple of saving things this weekend, so I guess I'll go ahead and start.
Yeah, post them on there. Yeah, go. And everybody, make sure you do that, man. Make sure you go on Facebook, on a Facebook page, Saturday Savers, and write your story. Please don't put their name, the pictures, the video. Don't add that. We're not trying to shame anybody. We're just trying to tell the story and share the story. So please don't add their names in there. You know, we don't want to do that. Now, Willow,
Hey, Raheem.
I'm wondering
I'm
what
ready.
Willow, are you ready?
I am so ready, so ready.
Let's go.
Amen. Let us go to the throne of grace with confidence and boldness this morning. Father, we're asking you to lift up, bow down heads this morning. Father, we were talking about tears and about death, oh Lord. But Father, you already know. You are omnipresent, God. And you already know the plans of this world, Lord. So we asking you, oh Lord, to continually guide us. Give us wisdom and understanding, Lord. Show us your ways and line us up with your will. Help us, oh Lord, to continually be mighty disciples for you, oh Lord. Help us, oh Lord, to understand those things that we don't understand, Lord. Thank you, Lord, for the Holy Spirit. Thank you for the protection. Thank you, Lord, for all you do. Thank you, Lord, for waking us up, Lord. Thank you. In spite of, Lord, we just thank you, Lord. In Jesus' name, amen, amen, amen. Thank you, Lord.
Amen, amen, amen. It's been a great broadcast. Cassandra, anything on your heart before we get out of here?
No, I just thank Willa for always bringing the powerful prayers that we all need to continue on this journey. Thank you, Willa.
Good deal. Rico, I see you shaking your hand, brother. What's on your heart?
Man, Cassandra beat me to it, man. Every time I just sit back and think, man, I need that, man. I appreciate you, Willa, man. I really appreciate that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Rico, everything okay? You ain't got an answer right now, but just, everything okay?
Oh yeah, man. I wish that attorney call would have been for me, but actually I might be able to use some of the info. But they looking for my baby mama, man. So I thought it was somebody to help me out, man. I was like, oh man, y'all looking for it too.
Lord, listen, man. This man, look here, y'all owe me 10 minutes, man. Y'all owe me 10 minutes. I might have to get it Friday. Y'all owe me 10 minutes. That's 10 minutes. I'm writing it down. Let me see. Tuesday, 10 minutes. Okay, let me get that written down. So make sure I keep my logbook right. Keep my logbook right. But listen, I want to thank everybody for joining us. And more than that, I want to thank you for allowing DKM Media Group and Associates and the Morning Glow for being a part of your morning. It is now 10:10. You're about to exit the Morning Glow. But before you go, I want you to do me two favors, if you will. One, I want you to continue to pray for us because we're certainly praying for each and every one of you. Number two, why this is real simple. I want you to go out there, find somebody, and give them a hug because you never know. It could be the only hug that they get, or it could very well be their last. Love you, and ain't nothing you can do about it. Have a great day and a better tomorrow. And then we shine some of this light on you from the Morning Glow. Take it out there into this wicked and cruel world that we live in and let your light so shine. If you get an opportunity, give somebody some love. You just might find some love in return. Won't that be a beautiful thing? Have a great day. Take care of each other. And please, please, please be blessed.